Peace and blessings, everybody. This is Karev and Heritage Hip Hop. But like I said, Mike Council's not about me. We got MCs, we got a producer, and we got a journalist who's joining us for this right here. And we are really about to go in. So, introduce yourselves from the left to the right.
Yo, it's Lex. Diamond's that pretty much all social media, journalist, independent writer. Repping for Jersey, repping for that Jersey hip hop, my brothers.
Again, y'all, this is Blues 360 Degrees, one half of the almighty team, the Valley Hour. Yes, you fucks, we on Heritage Hip Hop too. Just to let y'all know, this shit ain't changed. The work never stops. Playtime is for bitches. We say that all day long. That's what we believe in. Got my man Chief Valley over there on the side right there, even though I moved the camera the wrong way. But that's alright. But thank y'all for tuning into this. We about to have an interesting conversation right now. Hey, yo, Grump, let them know.
What up, yo? It's the Grumpy Old Man representing that Grumpy's World, A-Squad Rebel Radio all day long, plus Save the Kids Village and all this other stuff, but Google me.
As my partner over there said, it's your boy Chief Valley. New Jersey hip hop artist, also the host and creator of the Valley Hour, along with my man Blues 360, A-Squad Rebel Radio. Yeah, we out here. We killing it. Here with Heritage Hip Hop. Happy to be a part of this great conversation with these great minds in the building.
Facts.
So before we get started, shout out to Zay, shout out to Face, shout out to everybody who support. There you go. Shout out to everybody who supports. Shout out to We Are Jersey, Jersey Turned Up. Shout out to Face to Face.
Shout out to Mr. Ipkiss.
That's right.
Oh yeah.
And
Brother Ipkiss, yes.
Brother Ipkiss.
Yes.
With that said, here we go. What is the definition of classic music?
Alright. Well, classic, as far as it can stand the test of time. There's songs that could come out from the 50s, 40s, and will still play it now, and it'll still catch everybody's attention. If you could play that, if you could play something classic from Little Richard to even classic jazz, that's classic. Again, it goes with the name. It's classic. It's then the test of time.
Bingo.
That's facts. I piggyback off of what he said, but
Let me back.
No, we picking, porking.
No pork.
Bacon.
Let me back.
He's baking it back.
I'm going a little deeper with the subject, but when we speak classic, it's all genres of classic. So let's say if we was to go to classic rock and roll, and you think about the Clash, and they had that song, "Rockin' the Casbah," rock classic. Can't be, it's timeless, right? Then if you go all the way back, you got Cab Calloway, classic. There's nothing you can do about that. Then you bring it up a little bit, you got Mick Jagger and them and the boys, Pink Floyd, that's classic music. Hall & Oates, 101, classic, timeless, like he said, there's nothing you can do about that. Michael Jackson, Off the Wall, there's nothing you can do about that. Classic album, never, nothing you can do. Classic, Get Rich or Die Trying if you want to bring it up to us, you know what I'm saying? Classic, there's nothing you can do about that. Snoop Dogg's first album, classic, nothing you can do about that. Timeless, you understand what I'm saying? Illmatic, timeless. These are timeless, classic, individual things. Take it all the way to jazz, whatever. That's classic. That's what we is.
Yeah, pretty much the same thing. Songs and projects and records that stand the test of time. That can be played in any era, any moment. You have posed the question on Facebook. It said classic versus timeless music, and then the crazy thing is I actually think they're one and the same.
They intertwine. That's exactly.
They are the same.
Yeah, they intertwine. You can't be timeless without being classic.
Facts.
There's no way you can say. Now, what I could go off with what Grumpy said was that there are albums that he mentioned that people are going to consider not a classic, especially when it comes to hip hop.
Right. Facts.
I'll tell you this: on the West Coast, you dare try to say Illmatic is a classic, they look at you crazy. I'm like, come on, man. Just because y'all wasn't playing it like that over there doesn't mean it's not classic.
Really?
That's facts. Facts.
You go down.
You can't go there talking that nonsense over there.
Deep parts of down south.
You know what I mean?
They do not.
Like Outkast's first album would be super classic for them. That type shit.
And you know what's crazy is that a lot of people. I'm sorry to go on top of this. The Source magazine being a journalist, I really blamed the Source magazine for screwing up what classic.
Oh, they screwed up the whole
classic hip hop meant to us. Nothing was considered a classic. Everything was just a dope album, until Source decided, hey, you know what? We're going to say this album is going to stand the test of time. And the biggest thing you need for a classic album is what my man Bally said. You need time. You need time. You need that album to stand the test of time for it to be a classic. And nowadays we're in such a frenzy to say something is immediate. It's going to do. We're so in a demand. Every dope album that drops every week is the album of the year. This album's a classic. I heard like 9 classic albums already. People say this year. Rhapsody's album's classic. Rick Ross album's classic. This album's classic. It's like, yo, y'all gotta give albums time to breathe.
They think Rhapsody's Eve album is a classic?
Yes.
Really?
I've already heard, people already said this, album here, classic album, no female rap album ever came out like this. I'm like, what are you talking about?
I can see it being in the album of the year discussion, but not a classic.
Not a classic.
I don't even give it album of the month.
Yeah.
That's too much dope music. Come on.
For them to say that's a classic, then they really don't know what hip hop is. Because what are you saying about Eve? Like, if you were real Rhapsody fans, and I'm talking about real Rhapsody fans, you would know that if you go all the way back to the beautiful idea, funny, you sit back and listen to it, it sounds just like Eve. All it is just now we got the cameras on us now.
I'll make the argument to say that Layla's Wisdom is a classic though.
Yes, I can agree with that because that was the coming out party. She wanted to experiment with different.
So if y'all thought that shit was a classic, then what do we think Lauryn Hill shit is?
Oh, classic. Classic.
It's past the classic.
Right, Can you get past classical?
So y'all gotta be fucking kidding me. But you gotta also think of the era. So in the era, it could have been the classic at the time and that it came out for those people.
So you would say so in reality the Miseducation of Lauryn Hill would be considered not. I get what you mean by past the classic. It would be almost iconic to the degree.
Facts.
Because we have to break classics down just like we break down icon, legend, icon, superstar, star.
It's a different level. It's different with levels. It's different with levels. So we got to break that shit down. Like if you're going to say something's a classic, then you have to pinpoint the era. You have to pinpoint the time frame, and then you damn sure got to pinpoint who was behind the music.
I don't know if you got to pinpoint the era because like
you don't.
Lauryn Hill, Miseducation, I would mention in the annals of Stevie Wonder,
because she wasn't even in the bracket of hip hop.
It's like it's not even just that. It's just
I said she wasn't classified as the bracket of hip hop.
But it's not.
She was supposed to be. She was considered past that.
I just think it was just
amazing. Yes, like that otherworldly, the writing on it is incredible. That still makes that classic.
So Michael Jackson was R&B?
No, yes, he was. And the only reason, and this is what I'll tell people. People say, no. People say, and you know why they decided to stop him past that? They try to say he was pop. No, he made an R&B album that became popular music. Just like Usher did that with Confessions. You can make it was an album produced by hip hop.
I have to disagree with you.
We off on a tangent too.
No, you're going to agree with this.
No,
give me that bit. You're going to agree with this.
I'm gonna say it like this. You can't say that Michael Jackson was just.
He was not R&B.
He wasn't R&B to begin with. You want to know why? He made a soundtrack about a rat. Bruh, what are you talking about?
I guess.
What are you talking about? That's not R&B music.
Was that song R&B? Was that song a ballad?
What you mean? He made a whole album. He made a whole album about a man and his pet rat. My nigga, let's talk about it.
Was it not ballads?
What you mean? It was ballads on there, but it wasn't
R&B album.
It wasn't an R&B.
That was an R&B album.
It was R&B album.
So Lionel Richie was R&B then?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh.
Yes, they were.
Yeah. When he was with the Commodores,
what are you talking about? That is rhythm and blues. What makes it? Well, because it can dance. It was rhythm. It's rhythm and blues. It was a merger of both together. Just because it had some blues. So it wasn't.
No, rhythm and blues. Think about what you just said.
Lionel Richie was more pop in the '80s than he was.
What made it? Let's start. What makes it pop?
So Lil Richie was
because
blues.
That's what pop means. It became popular.
I
a show, yo.
We under
pop music. Because it's not just popular music. There's an actual sound.
Pop is what
for
they.
pop music.
Pop is what they.
No, look, I'm gonna tell you this. What kind of built that up was honestly in the '90s when they try to separate black music and white music into two different. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna say that actually in the '80s. I'm gonna say that more in the '80s.
You still.
But you know what's up with that? I'm gonna break this out. It was New Edition and the kids from the white kids from Boston.
Kids on the Block.
New Kids on the Block.
Even before that, they was doing payoffs for years.
No, we know that. But what separated the music was, in all honesty, what they did with New Kids on the Block, they copycatted what New Edition was doing. But because New Edition was selling 2-3 million, New Kids on the Block was selling 6-7 million.
But be clear,
they became more popular.
But be clear before you sit there.
The aspect.
Be clear before you say that New Edition was biting, because truth be told, Menudo was doing it first.
No. I'm talking about New Kids on the Block was biting what New Edition did.
Let me ask you this.
Of course, and New Edition bit what Menudo was doing.
Let me ask him this. As an artist. As an artist. If you had to make a pop record. Would you make if you had to make a pop record, you would know the difference between making a pop record and then making something that's like straight up underground hip hop?
Yeah, without question.
Right, so you would approach it different, right?
There would be no hip hop involved. Matter of fact, the people that will actually make the record, I would have to go like deep into damn near I want to say I don't want to say the country world, but I would have to go get a few people who know about that shit, who experience with that. It would be no
like No Better, the song.
Facts.
You know better.
But I would have to go a little. My shit would be pop, my shit would be pop.
And when it comes to hip hop, we kind of separate that. What we usually come with the word commercial.
Right.
We usually come with the word. Right. But I'll tell you this:
commercial, mainstream, whatever you want to call it.
50 Cent in the club. Would you consider that a pop song, a commercial song?
It was definitely
not at first. I don't think it was.
I
don't think it was written to be a commercial song. I think it was written to be a commercial song, but not a pop song.
No,
it became Chief. It is a Dr. Dre produced track. I don't think it was underground.
But I don't think. But you wasn't. The impact that it started, you wasn't expecting that. You was expecting it to be a hit, not that shit.
He's talking about drugging bitches in the club. Yeah. That's not a pop record. It's not a pop record.
It became a pop record. So it became a classic song.
Yeah, it crossed over because popular music said it's in the white bars. It's in every ethnicity has played this record.
Every party you went to, go shorty.
So let's get back to the conversation. Is that a classic record?
Yes. Classic record, classic album.
You can't listen. Ain't nothing you can do about Get Rich or Die Trying. I'm so sorry. Classic all the way.
Yeah. All the way. And
I went diamond twice.
Yeah. Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Twice.
International.
Oh, wow.
Eminem went 10 times
on it.
That international wave.
Doesn't matter. They playing on people's birthday.
And you have a birthday? You're here in the club.
That's fact. So when it comes to this classic, what we come with hip hop, it becomes so much bigger and broader because you got albums that are we'll say universal, like in hip hop conceived as classics, but then you have albums that are just Southern classic, East Coast classic, West Coast classic, New York classic.
I'm surprised because I watched the. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I watched the. Was the Hip Hop Evolution on Netflix? A lot of the artists from the South was mentioning Nas as like a fucking inspiration. The UGK.
Prince. He said he memorized Nas's whole album and was freestyling in the parks with Nas's verses.
I thought the Nas Illmatic was like a blueprint.
But you know what's crazy? But you know what's crazy? Speaking on pop, that album when they dropped in '94. Yo, you had to really be a hip hop head to be on it, because a lot of people was not buying it.
Well, you have to
you
have to be clear at that particular point. The East Coast and the West Coast had to create their own separate undergrounds. Because let me ask you a real question: do you consider Farside's first record a classic?
13 years old.
What?
I consider it a classic, but a lot of people won't consider that a classic.
Far Side with
first album.
The first album.
And why I consider it a classic because
that shit was a
I consider it
the dump.
No.
Not the entire album was dope.
You gotta understand.
But now get this. You know we're gonna talk. I wanted to wrap that. We're gonna talk about that. Your whole album don't need to be dope for it to be classic.
Whoa, now why? Yes, it does.
Oh no, it don't. Oh no, it does not.
Yes, it does.
Oh no, it does. No, it does not.
I mean, you got a classic album.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
Explain.
But be clear. Why I consider that a classic?
Alright, so name 5 songs off the album.
Listen. What you mean?
Name 5. What you mean? Name 5 songs right now.
Your mama, she keeps passing me by. What's that shit? A Bizarre Ride to the Far Side. What's that shit?
Yeah, you're gonna say a lot. Come on.
No, because one of them is a pause, and that's past the pipe. So pause. That's 3. And it's Jiggable Time. Oh no. And then what else?
Jiggable Time. That's coming before.
If you have to think this long,
no. What do you mean?
How's it a classic?
What do you mean? Well, you didn't let me explain why it was a classic. Let me explain why it's a classic.
That's actually a very good point.
I
didn't think this long.
No, you decided to cut me off before I explained why I felt like it was a classic. Why I felt like it was a classic because when I listened to Your Mama, I heard every sample from the Blue Note catalog in it. My father used to have these records. And my father had these records. We used to call his basement the jazz hall because every day I used to hear any type of record. So when Far Side came out with Bizarre Ride to the Far Side, I knew every sample that they used.
That's a producer's view.
No.
That ain't a classic.
No.
That ain't. It
has a classic single.
That was a producer's view of
album.
You think it was a classic because old ass album.
No,
that don't make it a classic.
No, but they were one of the first.
Bro, a classic is some things you can remember.
No, but bro,
you can't even remember 5 songs. What you mean? It's a classic. It is. You still didn't say, give me 5 straight.
I did give you 5 straight.
No, you gave me 4.5.
And it was a struggle for.
What you mean?
You 4.5.
You said at least 10 times before you even named the shit. That's not a classic.
You second and go right now. You
it don't mean anything, but I know the records. Period.
Okay.
I wouldn't have brought up the fucking record if I knew it wasn't the record.
You can pick the better.
No, I just asked the question. Do you consider Becca and the Soul Brother a classic?
Yes.
Now that was a fucking.
Yes. And this is why. Now
break it down.
Now, I'll tell you this. Did that album do something for hip? This is one thing you also need in hip hop. And honestly, a lot of people don't agree. You needed to move something. You needed to do something for hip hop. That production style that Pete Rock did on that album, everybody jacked it.
Yeah, changes.
Everybody jacked it. Everybody. Even though other people was sampling jazz, it wasn't sampling like that. He's flipped the whole game on how people was. People talking about Q-Tip. Yeah, he even looked at what Pete Rock doing. Jay Dilla looked at what Pete Rock doing. Just Blaze, Kanye, RZA. Everybody took what was Pete Rock doing on Becca and Soul Brother. I'ma do it that way and follow that aspect. And you didn't get as many smooth rappers until Theo Smooth was like that.
But truth be told, do you know?
But that's funny though.
Do you know who produced We Got the Jazz?
Wasn't Pete Rock?
Yeah.
Of course.
But that was before, like, when we was listening to All Sold Out. All Sold Out was a fucking classic. And that was only 6 records. Because the creator is still getting played to this day.
Nobody talks about that EP.
What you mean? Fucking Cannon just put it on a fucking commercial, the Good Life beat. What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
The EP.
Yeah, it's on the EP, bro.
Who still talks about the EP? Most people don't even know it exists. But we all know Becca and the Soul Brother.
You heard what she said?
What are y'all talking about? Which EP?
No, say it one more time.
Which EP?
Say it one more time.
All Sold Out, Pete Rock and CL Smooth.
The first one that came out before Becca and the Soul Brother.
Do you be talking about that?
I know what you're talking about, but I don't be talking about that.
Exactly.
I'm just saying, we dealing with facts.
Becca and the Soul Brothers.
And this is why I said, just because it was a dope album all the way, don't make it a classic.
All right, so let's circle back to that. Because you said some bullshit earlier. You said Chronic. You said absolutely.
Absolutely.
Break down why. Now go ahead.
But he said that every song on a classic album does not have to be dope.
Right.
How is that possible?
Yeah.
Would you like
I agree.
Would you like me to run down the albums?
Elaborate.
Okay. LL Cool J, Mama Said Knock You Out.
That album was not a classic to me.
That album wasn't a classic.
Hell no.
That album sold 10
No,
million.
to the hell.
It saved Def Jam Records. You talking about
Just because it saved them don't mean it was a classic. It just saved them.
That album was a
Muddy Water saved Def Jam.
No, it did not have one gold.
No, Muddy Water, you big, bro. If it wasn't for Lionel Cohen coming in there and saving Def Jam's ass, why you think Russell wanted out? They lost a lot of money fucking with these young artists. Truth be told, Russell should have thought of his second six and signed Jay-Z and Nas when he had a chance.
So because what the album did, it's a classic. You know that takes you out of a classic definition.
Legendary songs. They had songs that when you put on.
I need 5, homie.
So is Blueprint too.
I need 5.
And that's not a classic.
Name me 5. Oh, name me 5 off the LL joint.
5 songs? Let's see. Oh my goodness. Wait, of course, Mama said knock you out. Oh my goodness. What's the girl with all the girls in the video?
You know what I'm saying? You can damn near do all 5 songs.
Period. In the head.
That's all it was.
Of these two pair.
Around the Way Girl.
Around the Way Girl. Jiggling Baby remix. Those are 3 singles. That enough tells you it's a classic. Legendary songs. And then 2 songs I didn't care for. Farmers and...
Then it ain't a classic. It's over. My argument won.
You can't have a classic album.
So you really
one of the records on the album.
Okay.
The whole thing needs to be
but
tight.
Yeah,
Top to bottom.
Yeah.
Like, look what you
But I'm saying, that album to me, it has skippers. But that don't mean.
But how can you have skippers when you're talking about putting an album up against a Michael Jackson album which has no skips, or a Stevie Wonder album which has no skips, or a Lauren album that has no skips, and we're mentioning them in the same category? That you can't.
Okay, but I'm talking about.
I never heard of shit like that.
First of all, you're telling me. Hold on. You're telling me that Steve Kerr.
I would consider that a great album.
Exactly. It was a great album. It was a classic.
Great, not one of his classics though.
You're telling me.
Not considered as a classic Michael Jackson album. Somebody say Michael Jackson.
Is it not?
They don't mix. They mention Thriller and they mention Off the Wall.
That's all they could remember. That's all they know. You know
and Bad.
But you telling me Steve Kerr was the best player next to Michael Jordan? You can't compare that. How the fuck you gonna compare that?
Yeah, right. He was great.
Are we going to keep this towards the hip hop lane?
No, I'm just saying. It's the same shit. You talking about the Chronic and Mama Say Knock You Out album.
And Jack,
no fucking way
here. What's so important about that album is that
the Chronic changed West Coast music. The Chronic introduced the LA Underground and nobody even knew it.
We're talking about changing a whole
because nobody knew who RBX was. Nobody didn't know them. Nobody didn't know who Warren G was. Nobody didn't know who Nate Dogg was. Like that, and then when you walked into that valley, you saw Far Side, Freestyle Fellowship.
Nigga, you started seeing the East Coast incorporating West Coast sound.
Yeah, Souls of Mission.
Fucking This is what I mean. We gotta talk about facts and classics.
21 and Over is Alcoholics is a classic. I never heard any type of music from that era, from that town.
And I would tell you this, and this is my argument for that.
No, you gotta understand something. They're from the same place, from Bone Thugs. So imagine a group.
They are from Ohio.
You have to remember, of course, Madlib was a part of that. Remember that. Don't forget that.
Yeah, he was E. Swift's understudy.
No. That comes from that Melks tree. But what I'm saying is, 21 and Over was totally different because them niggas was talking that alcoholic shit and motherfuckers in playing East Coast beats. Like, and they were rapping good off of them. Only When I'm Drunk? Like, come on, man. Only When I'm Drunk is a classic.
It's like it changed the world.
This is what I will tell you about that album. This is what I'll tell you about that album. 21 and Over. King T's album when he's the dude with the gun, carrying the gun on the street. Exhibits At the Speed of Light. That whole claim.
That wasn't a classic.
No, I'm gonna tell you about that whole claim. This is the biggest issue with those 3 artists. Lyrical, great production. Nobody was talking about their albums on the East or West Coast. Matter of fact, they got more love on the East Coast than they did on the West Coast because nobody cared about them. The only argument is that there was West Coast.
First off, you got to make sure when you talk that hip hop shit, you got to understand something. The only reason why anybody saw Exhibit or any of those guys during that early going into the mid '90s was because of Razzcazz, is because of Miami Life.
Razzcazz held.
I got a Rocket and Scud for Crockett and Tubbs, nigga. Come on, bruh. Like
another one, another lyrical MC. East Coast production, lyrical.
But you didn't hear about Exhibit until he was on his album. You didn't hear you saw the alcoholic sprinkled in there because that's that tree. You know where that tree comes from? That tree comes from the Cypress Hill tree, from Muggs tree. You have Alchemist coming down that tree. You have Madlib coming down that tree.
That's facts.
You have DJ Lethal from House of Pain coming down that tree.
Yeah,
people laugh at me. They're like, DJ Mud, no, bro. Do you understand what? I listen to Alchemist beats every day. Are you kidding me? Like, you gotta understand. You gotta understand.
Of those artists, nobody cared for them. They were not getting love. Nobody.
You know why nobody cared.
Nobody was talking. They didn't move nothing. Nobody started following what they was trying to do. Nobody. Matter of fact, the biggest chance to blow up was Exhibit, and he left them to work with Dr. Dre.
That's when he blew up.
That's when he blew up.
Oh, but he's not understanding. Let me ask you a question. Why during that time were those artists in the West Coast not seen when they was doing East Coast music? I'll wait. You already know what it is. Did you not forget it was an East Coast West Coast beef? So let's understand. Certain radio stations was not playing those records.
Exhibit and the alcohol was getting played on the East Coast.
Of course, because Stretch was playing them.
No, they was getting played regular.
They was getting played on
Paparazzi was getting regular.
You know how I know they was getting played on the regular? Because that was around the time was still digging in the crates and then Snagglepuss, all that shit.
No, I still got that time. I'll tell you about the foundation was getting played on the hat with Ice Martinez
and Red Alert.
They was all playing. They was playing their music, but no. A lot of people didn't believe they was from the West Coast. A lot of people over here.
But you gotta understand. Just because they were playing the record, how many albums did they sell?
Nothing.
Exactly. Exactly. So you don't think, regardless if they was playing just one record, a beef wouldn't change anything like that?
It didn't change. That's like saying, okay,
bro, that was the perfect opportunity for corporate America to take over the radio. Did you not pay attention?
Okay, let me tell you this.
Because what was going on during the Death Row Bad Boy beef? Freaking Interscope was about to buy Time Warner. Time Warner was getting into the shits because of Death Row. They was trying to separate themselves from each other. What happens during that time when you have Warner Brothers music and Interscope music being played but can't be played? What happens? Corporate America slides in. We can help you. See them P. Diddy records? Let's grab them P. Diddy records and let's play them. Let's play those other records in between those records. So that's why we got every 3 records you hear the same record. Because it's the same theme. It hasn't changed since then. That's a corporate America program. They took that was the opportunity and they took it. Is Interscope still here? Because Interscope should have been bankrupt after Death Row.
No. Shot his crotch.
Pause. Cut that part out. Cut that part out.
That's live stream, bro.
Oh, shit.
My bad.
So, all right, look, let's get back to classics.
Okay.
Right? So, we're going to go Eminem's first album?
Nah, that's not a classic.
Okay, I'm putting it in the air. Eminem's first album. Snoop Dogg's first album.
Snoop.
Both.
Snoop.
Elaborate.
Both.
Because they saying not at all. But go ahead.
Eminem.
That just sounds like white boy heat.
Yeah.
No.
Go ahead.
The second album was a classic.
Second album definitely classic.
And that has skippers.
All 3 of them. What?
No.
Marshall Mathers show? Marshall Mathers album has skippers?
Marshall Mathers.
Look, skippers. What about, bro?
And he don't even like him like that. He know better.
This nigga crazy. He always push up.
I guess you didn't listen to that Remember Me track, huh?
That shit ain't
Y'all ready?
skippers.
You ready? Amityville.
But
That shit was great.
No, it wasn't. What is a tie? Nobody knew what a tie-on was. Nobody knew what I was talking about. Nobody thought about that joint.
I knew what that's what I was a rapper. So Kim was great.
You lying out your behind.
You bugging, yo. What's he drinking?
That's his opinion, though.
I'll give him that.
That's just me. You know what I mean? That's
Classic album, ass skippers.
But what he's not understanding is, truth be told, why wouldn't Slim Shady LP and Doggy Style be both classics? It's 2 different types of music. 2 different types
I need him to understand that.
2 different types of styles.
2 different genres.
2 different elements.
2 different eras.
I'm gonna tell
That's
you
what
this.
I mean by eras. That shit do count.
The Slim Shady LP raised the bar. when it came to rapping and MCing.
And lyrics.
It raised
Lyrics.
the bar. Motherfuckers started thinking other ways and other ways to express themselves lyrically and communicate.
And he went
period. And then he went even further with the Marshall
Bad Meets Evil was way before its time. Period.
Okay.
Period.
Now, after all that stuff that y'all said, y'all made up great points. But the reason why the topic is classic music versus timeless music is because of what Grump said. Era and time it was released. A lot of people nowadays call things classics, and they're not classic yet. They're still new. And then certain things can be classic, but not considered timeless. Like, if I look at Michael Jackson, PYT, that's timeless. 50 Cent in the Club, that's timeless. But if you look at certain albums that are considered classic by some, timeless would not match the bill. In New Jersey, we love Redman. And a lot of us consider There's a Dark Side a classic. That's not a timeless album.
Yeah, that's why I use the term. That's why I use the term.
I don't consider it a classic either.
This is why I use the term. I use the term flawless albums, which is something a lot of people. I wish the Source would have made what Five Mics meant. Flawless. That means every song.
So There Is a Dark Side was a flawless album?
Yeah. What song was Skipper? What song was Skipper?
What do you mean?
What song was Skipper?
You tell me.
I didn't know. I skipped them songs on there.
I still don't think it's classic.
Dude, it was great. You and your own song on this one.
Yeah, I didn't know.
I always skip the island joint all the time. I used to do
that's
that.
my shit.
I didn't like that. I didn't like it how it sounds sonically. So I was like, and then after a while, with certain way, like what I started understanding when like listening to beats and shit like that. Sometimes like I always, you know how with some of the trap rappers and they play that same beat at a certain point in his album, and There Is a Dark Side, even though lyrically it was all tight.
You mean Eric Sermon started using the same?
Yeah, it started kind of sounding repetitive.
He did.
Because yeah, but no, he didn't do a whole. He didn't produce the whole album.
I mean, you still got the Rock Wilder joints on that album.
Yeah, but I was but you gotta understand, I was already getting killed by No Pressure when he brought out Keith Murray in them. And did you listen to that music? When you listen to that album, and listen to those beats. That's the type of move. There Is a Dark Side, especially at the second half.
So to piggyback off of what he was saying, so question,
Bacon.
bacon. My question is, so there's no album that y'all heard off top from the first moment and thought to yourself, you know what? This is it. This album might be fucking around be a classic. Yo.
Yeah.
There's not one album that y'all.
I can think of a few.
And then you would write.
Yeah. but you know what? And this is the album for me that I did that with, and a lot of people. It's like now I started seeing the popularity on this album. It was written Nas. At that time, people.
I got issues with It Was Written. I'm sorry.
Was not a classic.
I'm one of the only people in this world who don't think that album is that.
I don't think it's a classic
I have
either.
so many arguments.
But I gave you Power. But I gave you Power is a classic.
That shit was cool.
I gave you Power is a classic within just the rhyme scheme itself.
So you saying that shit was flawless?
And I will tell you, yes, I do. I will tell you.
Oh, I don't agree with that.
Wait, time out. Once again, that's his opinion.
And I will tell you why, because I read an article about this. That album has something that Illmatic did not have. Nas showed growth. Did not have that on Illmatic. Can't say he did. He showed growth.
Record, of course he's supposed to show growth.
So how can you step down if you show growth? That is the opposite of showing growth.
Everybody shows growth. What the fuck
you improve.
He improved lyrically. But however, too many songs. It was too many songs when It Was Written.
14?
And then on top of that, yes. It was too many because all of them were not dope.
What song, please?
All of them were not dope, yo.
Beats wasn't dope. Like
what? What song?
Black Girl Lost beat wasn't dope.
Black Girl Lost. That song was phenomenal.
To you.
Bugging.
Once again, to you.
That was the first of many songs now where they talk about the struggle of the black woman.
Nas Is Coming was ass.
Yeah, that song sucked.
That song is ass, dog.
Dre didn't do well with that.
Nas Is Coming. That shit is ass, yo. Cause Ray was paid. That song is corny as shit, and so was the Firm album. But that's not
okay. I will give you the Firm was alright. But I will tell you this: the issue a lot of people I thought had with Nas Is Coming was, again, this was during the era where people beefing on West Coast tracks at the time. People was not feeling too many West Coast songs. The song, to me, the beat was dope. The track was dope. The lyrics were dope. All right. Maybe the hook could have been a little better, but the album was still
when Nas Is Written was out, what album did Jay-Z have at that moment?
None.
Reasonable Doubt.
Reasonable Doubt just dropped.
Stop it.
That's right.
Cut it out.
Yeah, Reasonable Doubt
Was
just-
that a classic?
Yes, it was. It's a classic as
There's
well.
nothing to talk about. That's why most people felt like that.
Okay.
I just need you to understand
So
something.
is Reasonable Doubt timely?
No.
And see, that's the point we're trying to get to, because a lot of people consider
it was written. So.
a lot of people consider things classic, and can be given classic, but they're not timely.
No, neither
And
one of
this
them
is
albums are
and
timely.
this- Because like I said, because like I said, when There's a Dark Side is a cult classic.
Yeah, fact.
It's not a.
Oh, that's a good point.
stable
Wait, we're
classic.
talking about that, a universal classic.
Right.
And I will tell you this. This is the problem with albums like Reasonable Doubt, It Was Written, Illmatic, is that you could hear the error in the production. And that's one thing. Black Moon's Enter the Stage. I will tell you this, but when you play the album, you can hear.
But Wolf in Sheep's Clothing was
You can hear.
a classic.
You can hear that. It's like now he plays. It's like it sounds early 90s. You can hear the same drum patterns. You can hear the funky drummer over and over again. You can hear You can see this album came out in 1993, 1992. You can hear the production. You have albums that if I play certain songs off of later albums, it stood the test of time. I could play certain songs. I could play songs from It Was Written, and it still feels like something I hear every day.
But here's the rebuttal to that. Now, we're not. I said music, not just hip hop.
Facts.
Okay. Now, if I listen to Scott Joplin Ragtime, if I listen to that right now, that melody is still a classic, but it's not today's form. So it is dated, but it's still that's a timeless track.
I can listen to Al Green
still
right now and still feel good than a motherfucker.
Mm-hmm. Because
Facts.
the sound could carry over time.
Beethoven is timeless music.
Facts.
You're not telling me that
Mozart
it's
is
written
timeless music.
will make me still feel some type of way right now. No, it doesn't. It just doesn't. It just doesn't.
Certain songs off of there that would, but not the whole entire.
Yeah,
You
but
need more
I'm
people.
talking about the entire album.
But
The entire album.
See, I'm from where we looked at all the credits, read them, all that,
Yeah, so was it.
and listened to the entire album. Not 2 songs and then turn it off.
Right.
It's not classic. I'm sorry.
And what? And you don't do that when It Was Written. You play it through.
No, you don't.
Play it through.
Never.
I've
Not
never
even.
played that album through.
Not even.
Well, then you had the wrong tape. I don't know what you was. You had the wrong tape.
Because Now It's Coming was whack.
Now It's Coming.
So is that the whole album? One song?
Yeah,
No,
but
and it was I didn't like Street
you-
Dreams that much either.
But you skipped.
I didn't like Street Dreams that much. That's
Street Dreams are.
I didn't like that song that much.
Oh man, no, you alone on that.
I like the remix. I ain't like that.
What?
Because the remix
So-
made
so-
sense.
so I guess
the
you didn't
regular
like-
mix didn't make sense.
It was okay to me.
What?
The regular mix didn't make sense. It needed a single.
And
form.
again, I
What's wrong
recognize that's
with
just
it?
personal opinion because I
What's wrong with it?
understand why the world loved it. I get it. It's just personal.
It's so dope that Tupac had the same beat, the same melody, the same rhythm, and we like that song too.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one. All Eyes on Me. Is that a classic?
Yes, it was.
Hell,
Very much.
fucking no. Hell, fucking no.
Get this man off camera. Get him off camera. Don't be slide over. Don't even get him on the seat. You go that way. You go that way.
Classic. Hell no, yo. No way.
Everybody who on the West Coast is listening to this is Valley music right there.
No way. Machiavelli. Yes.
Everybody hates me for this. I say Tupac he didn't have good beats. I think his
Of all the albums, not to say that for.
I think his personality carried, his style, his swag carried the tracks. I don't think the beats matched.
His first two albums. No, you can't say that when it was written. You can't say that when it was written. You can't say that when it was written.
My Tupac's classic to me. That was just
Yeah, Man as Well was great.
because
All Eyes on Me had some of the
when he wrote that
best
song about his
production.
mother, you knew where in certain albums, certain parts. of the
So
song.
tears. Yeah.
First of all, he was very dope with pain music. Period.
Yes.
But can I be honest? With him going to jail, the word, like his wordplay in that record was the best that I had heard from Tupacalypse Now. Like it was so focused on even the
That was Tupac's most lyrical album. I will tell you this. That was Tupac's most wordplay lyrical album.
He was really saying some poetry.
And I tell people that was his most East Coast album. That was his most East Coast album. Now what happened was, I tell people that album is the 40-ounce and Crown Fried Chicken album. All Eyes on Me was a champagne and steak. Was a champagne and some
Absolutely not.
ribeye. Yes, it was.
Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. And it was still Thomas out. They gave you some of
So was Kingdom Come a classic to y'all?
Fuck no.
Yeah, that shit was trash.
Jay-Z's second worst album.
Not trash, but it was.
That was second worst album.
That shit was not.
I don't call it trash. It just wasn't no classic.
All right, look, besides going breaking down artist to artist, because we'll do that later, my thing is this. When classic music is separated from timeless music, we run the trend of being very contemporary.
Fact.
Like today, to break up an artist, Kendrick Lamar is considered a person who brings out classic albums because he changes his sound.
Right.
Yeah, Redman did that, Nas did that, Jay-Z did that, Biggie did that, Outkast did that, Dre did that, NWA did that. So that's not something that we can call a standard for judging a classic. Also, people say J. Cole's second, The Forest Hills, that's a classic. They say that's a they say that's a classic because he did it by himself with no features. Well, that should not be something. That's not something that defines a classic. So, how do you define not just albums, classic versus popular?
All right. So the Kendrick Lamar thing, all his albums to me personally were not classics. But to answer your question, and I think he's one of my favorite, if not my favorite artists, like right now. Good Kid, Mad City. When I first heard that album, I knew off top that was a classic record. I knew it. Period. That song, that album
just goes against
is
what you
going.
just said.
I said every one. No, I did. I said every one of his albums were not a classic.
No, not at all.
That's what I said. Every one of his albums were not good.
I get what you said.
Yeah. So Good Kid, Mad City. When I first heard that shit, I knew. Just listen. I listened to that album probably like for 6 months straight. It got something different out of it every fucking time I listen to the shit, yo. It's an amazing piece of art. So I knew it is something that's going to carry for generations on and on and on, and it's going to be appreciated for the piece of art that it is. It transcends from just being sound and just music. Now it's art. So, that I knew from that point. So I think that stands the test of time. When you hear something like a Madonna, or you hear something, it's art. It's way beyond just regular fucking just music. It's way just sound. You know what I'm saying? When you pump this shit in your deck 6 years from now, 10 years from now, it's gonna be appreciated as if it's a brand new fucking record. And you're gonna catch stuff out of it that you didn't catch 10 years ago. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna still invoke an emotion or invoking a new emotion in you that didn't do it before. You know what I'm saying? So that to me that's a classic record. That tells you, that's to me.
Now,
Damn to me was classic too.
Look, to me,
you think Damn was a classic?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's gonna be appreciated. I'm not just shit when I pull surprise.
I'll tell you.
I mean, true. Like I was agreeing with you, but you said as far as albums. I mean, when you look at Good Kid, Mad City, it told a story that was told before, but it had more artistry to it. Mm-hmm. So, but when you hear To Pimp a Butterfly, it was basically, when I really paid attention to it, he sat there and basically wanted to say everything he wanted to say to Pac. Yeah. And truth be told, to me, that was the greatest outro I've ever heard in hip hop.
You know what? That's a good
because it changed.
That's a classic record, but not timeless. I don't think To Pimp a Butterfly is timeless. Well, I don't think you can put To Pimp a Butterfly on that.
I could agree with you on that.
You know what I'm saying? Like
it has different complexities and it has a storyline to it, because I was going with you in regards to the Good Kid, Mad City, but I can't consider that timeless. Because it has parts in there where you have to literally stop. Because you have to get an understanding of what's going on. Because you'll get lost on certain records. Because after Palm Trees, certain jokers was lost. Because they didn't understand what happened. And when you realize he went backwards.
And that's what's so special about To Pimp a Butterfly. A lot of people didn't know that, and it continued actually when Good Kid, Mad City started. A lot of people don't realize certain of the stories that he was talking about on Good Kid, Mad City, he finished on To Pimp a Butterfly. You can't have one without the other. This is book A. This was book B.
Do you consider them those records standing the test of time?
Both those albums, clearly Good Kid, Mad City has stood the test of time.
Yeah.
And it has been, the longest charted album in history of music?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. People still talk about that album to this day.
Yeah.
In all honesty, it might quietly be the best album that came out on Aftermath Records without no Dr. Dre production. So, to this day,
it's an argument.
To this, yeah. So you know, as far as creativity, we have what 3 albums in hip hop that were a concept album from jump to finish, and that was the one that we still talk about to this day. Has that stood the test of time? Absolutely.
Yeah. What's all 3?
Huh?
Tell me all of them.
Prince of All Thieves, DJ Prince Paul, and Black Trash, Sticky Fingers.
Well, see, I argue that because
I don't know.
That was a concept album. No, you're talking about concept album.
I think concept albums are the best albums anybody can ever make in hip hop.
Creativity wise, yes, absolutely.
And you miss one. In my opinion, I think Ghostface 36 Seasons. I think that's a classic.
You know what? I think
concept albums you can go really well and you can go really bad.
I would give you at 36 Seasons.
I was okay with that until I heard the 2 albums he did with Adrian Young and 12 Reasons to Die.
But one album should not affect how you hear an album because it's his own body of
work. It's own body of work.
I'm gonna keep it real. If I judge, alright, because then if you say that, then Biggie can't be the greatest because Puffy fucked his legacy up with Born Again. So, like I said, I gotta take the album for what it is rather than for what something else gave me. Because then, look, because then that makes Tribe Called Quest, that lowers them. Because the argument between Midnight Marauders and Low End Theory, they could go together in argument, but you're judging it album to album.
Right, because then you better be like, yo, but the Love Movement don't do that.
Because you can take the Coming.
And Jay Dilla fans don't like to hear that. Jay Dilla fans don't like to hear that.
Which one is the classic?
Neither. But I got you.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. So I got you.
Love Movement, but no. The reason why Jay Dilla fans feel that way is because you don't understand. The Love Movement album, all those was scraps, dog. Remember, their studio burned up. The real album was gone. They was happy about that because they didn't want Jive to have it anyway.
Yeah, I remember that story.
They gave him that bullshit. Yeah. Half those tracks at the end of the album, when you get to it, them is beat tapes from when he was with the Far Side. Pay attention to them records. It was all junk. That's why they gave it to him. I give Q-Tip credit. He didn't want to let Fife know what was going on, and they was trying to do it again. I think the only group that didn't have that issue right away was Naughty by Nature. Yeah, but they always try to take the lead. They did it with Grand Poobah, with Brand Nubian.
Speaking of Naughty,
I was just about to ask that.
First album,
it's classic.
Second album,
is it a classic?
Which one is the classic?
Second album.
Whoa. Okay. The first album was...
I don't know. It depends on, because when you from North East Orange.
And the second one was, what was that? 1993.
1993.
Classic.
Period.
First album was not a classic. It had skippers.
Yeah, it did.
First album had skippers.
But the first album was lyrically better, though. The second album was more mature.
Yeah.
That was a mature album.
Again, shows the growth.
And honestly,
and
let me and Belly have this one. Yo.
Yeah.
Get him.
Bruh. Get him. What song on 1903 was nasty than Yoke the Joker?
Yoke the Joker is still one of the hardest records out there.
Yeah, it is.
It is, bro.
It is.
But that's just one song, though.
And then you know the ill shit, Queen Latifah rapping on the old song, new style. I was like, oh shit.
Now this is why I say it was mature.
Slapped and where it did. That was ill as fuck.
Now listen. This is why I say it mature. Naughty by Nature's first album was the one that had them open the door. The second album made them mainstays.
Yeah.
Because MTV was using Take It To Your Face on that rock and jock crap. I mean, they was using it.
Yeah.
But the thing was,
hip hop rap.
Forget the Michael Jackson joint with OPP and all that, right?
Right.
Yoke the Joker was the track that scared everybody in 2 states.
It sure did.
Because Stretch was called the King of New York, and they begged for Biggie to come out to take that spot.
Yeah, and then Eminem even mentions that when he first heard Yoke the Joker, it made him go back and be like, "Yo, I'm not doing this anymore."
But the height of their maturity was Icons. Because that album, when I Clap Your Hands in the beginning, that you hear that next to 1903, it's even a maturity of that. That's better than 1903.
So what about Naughty's Paradise?
That
shit was
No. That was a dope album.
It was too long. And then at the end it started, you could tell the energy was dying. crying as it was going along towards the end. It was, I wouldn't consider it a classic.
Poor Righteous Teachers.
First album.
First album. Artifacts.
No, the second album.
No, I'm asking. I'm comparing that.
Okay.
Oh,
Righteous Teachers. Artifacts first album.
When you hear that beat,
Who had the better album? Poor Righteous Teachers first album. Artifacts first album.
Artifacts all day with me.
Artifacts.
No, Artifacts is my favorite New Jersey.
Attack of New Jerusalem.
Artifacts over there.
You'll take Artifacts over
Because that beat is nasty.
I said Poor Righteous Teachers.
Yes.
Oh, you said Poor
Because I
Righteous
rode the 31 bus.
So stupid.
Artifacts.
That was on the second. Wait, 31 Bum Rush.
Think about that shit, yo. Think about them albums.
No, Artifacts.
Yeah, that's
Artifacts, bro.
hands down, yo.
But who was the best?
But was it classic though? But was it classic?
Was one classic? Artifacts first album?
Yeah,
No.
It's a Jersey classic.
It's a dope record.
That's a
It's a dope record. Will it be remembered? Yes.
Yeah, of course.
I'm gonna get to the album that I'm gonna say it's gonna start an argument because a lot of people consider this album a classic album, and to this day I feel that it is on the strength of it's still being taught to this day.
MC Hammer is not a classic. Stop.
Got classic songs though.
Can't touch
Keep it real. You got classic songs.
Yeah, classic stage.
Lil Wayne,
No,
Carter
no
2.
No classic.
Lil Wayne, the Carter 2.
Why are y'all talking about this guy?
None.
We're gonna talk. We gotta really talk. We gotta really
All
talk.
right, name me the rest out.
Hammer, I am. Let's get it started. He has some classic records, yo. Come on, yo. Look at what he's doing. We grown and we still do that. Hammer was that nigga.
Then Vanilla Ice got a classic. If you
Yes,
gonna
he
do
does.
that,
Ice Ice Baby is a classic record.
That's a classic song.
That's a
And
classic
people
song.
try to hate on that song, but when we was kids, everybody was dancing.
Everybody was dancing.
Everybody was out. That song was out.
Oh, and for those who are listening, we still like to thank Vanilla Ice because if it wasn't for Vanilla Ice, there wouldn't be a Death Row, y'all. Remember that. Remember that.
all right. So what about the Lord's album? Was that classic?
First album? Hell,
First one?
hell yeah. Hell yeah.
The whole shit.
Yeah. No, you know what? I would say
Album,
Cold
first
Classic.
album?
I would say Jersey because
No.
it has skippers.
It was a dope record.
Not the whole
I
shit.
can't listen
Not
to
the
that
whole
whole
shit,
thing.
nah.
Sorry.
Okay, so
Not the whole
look.
shit.
And see, that goes, what you're doing goes into another point. Classics define artists. Why are there artists with classics that don't get held to the standard? Because you have great artists that don't have classics that are here, and then you have artists that have classics that are down here. And classics are supposed to be either timeless or stand the test of time. So why is that?
Popularity,
That's just
promotion.
that's just money, marketing the machine
Marketing.
behind them and shit like that.
Okay, but think
I'll
about
tell you this, in the 90s, I was screaming the Roots back in the day, and I was getting
you was
left and
pushing
right.
I've been rocking the Roots since
Yes,
92.
but guess what? But I'll tell you this, in the 90s, if you dare try to
They
talk
wouldn't
around
even talk about the
1996,
Roots, yeah.
you come around 1996, 1997, talk about, yo, you ever heard this Roots album called,
They wouldn't even talk about
they
He used to do it to me. I used to be like, get this
out of here. That's a years for Roots fans to finally get respect. So just because they caught on.
First off,
Black Thought, though.
First off,
Niggas was not messing with Black Thought back in the
First
day.
off, be clear. When the Roots came out, there wasn't a lot of rappers doing using regular instrumentation.
Nobody cared about the production.
No, wait, you know, wait.
Nobody cared about the production.
Wait, no, how you gonna say that? How you gonna say that when the first Roots album had regular secular music on it?
Nobody was listening.
No, bro. What I'm saying
you
is,
appreciate it now because you're older.
no, what you mean? I appreciated it then.
No, he did.
I appreciated it then. I was
He
a.
used to annoy the shit out of me with that shit, yo. That shit, yo.
So you was like the rest of us, like
I didn't
The last poets did the same shit. Gil Scott Heron did the same shit.
Same exact shit. Actually.
Yeah. I always say Heron.
Yeah, Harry.
look.
All right, but look, let's go back to this point.
Yeah.
Sticky Fingers has one of the most seminal albums in hip hop history, but
Yes,
he's
he
not
does.
held up
That's
as
facts.
a great hip hop
One
artist.
of the lyrics.
But people
That shit
always
was
say
classic.
Busta Rhymes is the man, and Busta Rhymes has no classic albums. Or Jadakiss, No classic
I
album.
will agree with you with Jadakiss. I agree with you, Jadakiss. I will agree.
That's his opinion.
Ellie
No,
is not a classic?
Which album?
Ellie is not a classic for Busta Rhymes?
I will say
fillers.
I will just say no.
Which one?
No, Extinction Level Event.
Extinction Level Event was a dope record.
It wasn't
a lot of fillers.
I'll tell you, it wasn't a flawless album.
The album with Dr. Dre is not a classic?
The Coming? I mean, not the Coming. The Genesis or the Big Bang.
The Big
Flawless
Bang
album, not
fucking
Wait a minute.
flawless. Flawless album, not classic.
You know what? You're right. I'll give it flawless. You're right.
Flawless album, not
Big
classic.
Bang was fucking
Nobody
fire,
talks
yo.
about that
Big
album.
Bang was bananas. I can't.
But so was the Coming.
Classic though.
So what's the
But it wasn't all the way.
But so was
Oh, no.
It wasn't flawless.
When Disaster Strikes was
I just
not a
said that.
classic,
He
yo.
just said no. I just said that. He said no.
I can't. Yo, Chief, I'm gonna be honest with
Look,
you.
I'll tell you this.
It had Dangerous and Put Your Hands
That
on
shit
it.
had 5 songs.
Yeah, the singles were
But
memorable, but the rest of the album wasn't. The Coming, I could say flawless. Does anybody still talk about the Coming to this day? No,
That was okay.
During that time,
Nobody talks about none of this shit. That's the best part.
I mean,
my point.
that's your
That's
choice.
my
But
point.
look at this. This is the same. When the Coming dropped out, so did albums like pretty much the best of the Wu, ODB, Raekwon, Jizza all dropped those albums.
Yeah.
We still talk about those albums. They flawless to this day.
I wasn't
That's why
really
we
digging.
still-
I wasn't Buster. So liking him until his second album. To be honest with you.
well,
He got more
because I was
popular.
the leaders of the new school
First album
thing.
was okay.
So
was I, actually. So was I. Big time, actually.
How do because truth
got
be told,
more- he got more
Time is a
burning
cult
light
classic,
with
and
Tribe.
niggas didn't even know nothing about.
Yeah, Time is a
Because
cult classic.
leaders of the new school, they never thought leaders of the new school was ever going to be like that. I mean, I use that as an example because a lot of people don't talk about it.
From the Spontaneous.
And the Cypher record,
Yeah,
oh,
Spontaneous.
yeah.
Holy Smokey Joe, no joke. That was that.
So was the Grave Diggers a classic?
The first album.
Hell yeah.
I just wanted to see.
How about Onyx? All We Got Is Us.
No,
That's a classic album.
no,
That's a classic album.
That's the second album, right?
Yes,
Hell yeah.
that's a classic album.
I will tell you this. I will tell you.
And look, and you know what made that album not timeless? That is Gangs of New York. That's it. That's it. We don't know King Signs. That's the only thing that album was a classic.
But let me ask
Even
you.
the remixes that came off of that was classic because if you know, Evil Streets on remix with Method Man.
Yeah.
That's
And the other remix with
Let me ask you,
Trigger the Gambler and
yeah, that record.
what the fuck was that?
They had a classic.
Oh man.
But truth be told,
Streets?
I understand why people say all we got is us
But let me ask you
because
something.
of a couple
But
records,
when we talk about
especially the
Onyx,
remixes.
it's their first
But if
album
you
that
look
gets
at them
all the love.
overall,
Because
you know what their best record was? Shut Them Down.
Shut 'Em Down is their best
Their best work
piece
is
of work.
Best
What's
work,
their
best
classic
work.
album is All We Got.
no. I'm not gonna say it's a classic. I don't think Onyx ever had a classic.
Okay.
Wow, that's
Was
tough.
Run DMC first album a classic?
Is it rock?
Was
Yes.
it a classic?
I'm a
Yes.
king of rock.
Yes.
Yes, the album.
Yes.
Was it a classic?
Raising Hell for me.
Classic. Raising
It doesn't matter who's better. He just says it's a classic.
Was it a
Run
classic?
DMC has more than one classic.
Yes, they do.
That's what I'm trying to say.
First album was a classic.
And timeless music. Still.
I'll tell you this: EPMD first 3 albums were all pretty much all flawless. They only had one classic out of that 3. The third one, Business Is Better.
Well, yeah.
Talk about it. Talk about it.
Okay, so
They got a classic album?
What?
Yeah, that's fucked
Don't
up.
do that.
Talk about it.
That album with Headbanger on it is a classic.
Talk
Don't do
about
that.
it.
Don't do
Business
that.
Never Personal.
Guys, don't do that.
Business Never
But truth be told,
That's the only album people remember, period.
I know, but that first
And they had
see,
but you have to
flawless albums.
but correct. You have to be honest with yourself. Like I was a big, like Union Avenue. There's only 3 albums that used to get played during that time. It was EPMD, it was NWA, and it was Dougie Fresh. Now Slick Rick and them. So when you hear EPMD, all the serious niggas was driving around playing EPMD. So I understood what kind of music it was. But to say, was it classic music? No.
Now see, wait. Now see, that's where I'll say Gronk once again gave one of the most impactful things
Ever,
said
man.
here
Tell
is
me.
that era. Because you know what made something a classic back in the day?
Because of that era.
Driving around the car in your car and hearing the same albums with different songs on everywhere. Because when Nas first came out, when I was on Avon, New York City tomorrow was hot.
And
when I was downtown, The Word Is Yours was the hottest.
And Get Rich or Die Trying. You can
But
go
I will tell you this. But I will tell you this. when it was written dropped, I heard the message. Look, I'm from North, so I heard the message on Summer Ave. I would hear affirmative action on
That's what made my point. You can't
songs.
enjoy music and not put an era into it because you always gonna go back to what you remember as soon as you hear the song. That's that era.
And that's why the album that most people hate to discuss, which is I'm gonna bring up the Carter 2. There's a bunch of generation of people who are going to say they bring this album out because that's the album.
Carter 2 was a classic.
Huh?
No, Carter 2 is a classic.
No,
I think
you need
3
to
was.
You can just drop me out of this equation.
I think 3 was his best work, period, all around.
I think 3 Carter 2 was a little better.
Period.
I like Carter 2 a little better. Get him, Grump.
Boom. I want to ask people, because it's been a debate for a long time, so my hip-hop people on there, seriously though, we want to talk Slick Rick, first album, Dana Dane, first album. Talk to me.
Slick Rick. Sorry.
There's no argument here, Slick Rick.
I don't think there's no argument on our case, but what made you say
Possibly the best storytelling album, and I'm gonna take out possibly. The best storytelling rap album of fucking all time.
Gotcha.
And not to mention Advance Right, the tracks on that shit
Still
bump.
Gotcha.
To this I was riding home the other day and fucking The Ruler's Back came on.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
That shit made me want to rap.
Those beats are timeless.
Now, for Dana Dane's defense only, he got one of the dopest classic singles off that shit.
Nightmares.
And you know the only thing we all remember.
And you know what a lot of people would say too is that one would not exist without the other.
And that's facts.
So a lot of historians say that too, to the reason why Dana Dane's is better.
I think Slick Rick is better because Jay-Z bit the whole shit in his first single on the
Facts too.
Word.
Got it.
I don't hear nobody recapping Dana Dane, but I heard
I don't even hear nobody ever tried to do the remix of Nightmare or nothing.
So are we universal that for your album to be classic, it still has to be talked about?
A little bit, maybe. But that's not really that.
But nobody talks about All We Got Is Us. Nobody really talks about Black Trap.
But the thing about Slick Rick,
Because they're not classics.
no, but the thing about Slick,
Flawless albums.
the thing about Slick Rick, his first album is, yo, they still bumping that shit.
No, I might give him on that one. I don't think All I Got.
Alright, so look.
I never thought it was a classic.
Let's go a little further.
Flawless.
And this is a definitely debate for me because
Dope record, yes.
X-Clan, first album.
To the East Blackwards.
First album. Cellar Dwellers. First album.
Oh, that's a good.
Talk to me.
I'm gonna tell you this. That Cellar Dweller album was another album that took years for people to catch up on. Because my boy tried to put me up on that album back in the day.
Well, look, talk one at a time.
Nobody, on the real, when that Cellar Dweller's first album came out, that's when they had the single with the dating show. Nobody. I was trying to put people on. My boy put me up on it. Nobody wanted to hear that. It took years.
A better argument would have been Cellar Dweller's first album and Organized Confusion first album.
Oh, there's no
dope too.
No.
Organized Confusion probably would have just
But the thing is,
those are cool.
a lot of people didn't fuck with them after Organized Confusion when they first came out.
nobody know what that was about.
So there's no fucking album really that you can put up against that has Pharaoh Monch on it. That's better
But
than
people didn't
Pharaoh Monch.
People didn't fuck with
Can I be honest with you? Organized Confusion, the first record was a great record. Stress was a good record. But the Equinox was...
That was the first single.
Yeah, that was the first,
Yeah. And when people first heard that, it was like, get the fuck out of here. They wasn't trying to hear that shit.
Yeah, but...
It wasn't until Fudge Pudge came out.
Fudge Pudge was old
started
school.
messing with them.
But my thing is, my personal, I don't think they had a classic, but Equinox to me is a classic because it told some. If you really pay attention to it, it was like some GTA shit.
Okay, so
let me ask you this. This is another album that people now are jumping and screaming as a classic, but back then nobody was really talking about. Big L's first album.
No, that wasn't a classic.
I hated them beats. And remember, niggas in Irvington was getting at me with that shit. I said that shit wasn't great.
Lyrics was dope.
The lyrics was dope, but overall the music,
It sounded dated for its time. It came out in '94. It sounded like an album that should have dropped in '92. It was dated, but people will scream to this day online. That album, oh my God, the word,
I got one for y'all.
I got
one for y'all.
Okay.
Grand Nubian's first album.
Classic.
Grand Puba's first album.
No, Grand
Wait, you mean Grand Puba's second album? Because Grand Puba's first album was the Grand Puba's first album. No, I'm talking about the Grand Puba album.
Yeah.
Grand Puba was all over the first album. Those was both his first albums.
But his solo album,
was features. There's features on that first album.
The
first one way.
How it was the same production, the same album. It was the same album.
That damn sure was.
It was the same album.
That's why I'm saying
murdered the dog,
I'm having a difficult time trying to.
Can I? Brand Nubian's first album, Brand Nubian's second album.
First album. Because when they lost Grand Puba, they lost a step.
A little bit.
behind.
Yeah, I mean it was still a solid album. They may have the biggest singles on the second album, right?
Facts.
Was
But wait, I want to talk about obscure albums that are considered classics,
Purple Rain.
but are like cult. No, that's timeless.
Diggable Planets for Ninth Wonder.
Hell,
That's a cult classic.
cult
Yeah.
classic.
But like there's albums that are classic that we should argue are they classic or cult classics, the timeless classic.
But sidebar, hold on. Sidebar, Diggable Planet's first album, every beat on there was knocking.
That's classic.
Period. Every beat on there was the shit.
But here's what
As far as line wise, I didn't understand half the shit they was talking about.
Lupe Fiasco, Food and Liquor.
that's the first one?
Yeah.
No, that's a classic. By
That's a
far.
classic.
By far. Because the cool is like the game dream.
The Cool
That
was dope
shut
as
a
fuck,
lot of people's
The Cool
rap.
was a classic.
A lot of people have to step
You
their
gave
game
a Cool a classic
Yeah,
too?
Cool was a classic to me.
Yeah.
So
Lupe.
you gave Lupe back-to-back classics.
Yeah.
I agree with Samad Savage. I'll take the cool before Food and Liquor.
That's a good debate.
I'll take the cool.
Because, yo,
I'll take the cool before.
But I got a Cool classic too. I got a battle.
Yeah, because
I'm gonna say
the
something.
wordplay was amazing.
I'm gonna say something in context and let's see if y'all follow me. Lupe Fiasco's is this generation's Nas.
Wow.
No.
Let me tell you what I said.
He's a second.
Remember what I said?
This is not his. This is not his
remember what I said.
generation.
Remember what I
This is not
said.
his
That's what I'm
generation.
saying. Remember what I said.
No.
I said take it in context. I'm not saying he's the caliber. When Nas came out, if Nas came out in that money era, Nas would have been like way up here. But because he came out before that, Nas is really forgotten about because all you heard about was Biggie and Jay, and Nas was the afterthought.
Nas up.
So then with Lupe, everybody today is kind of using what Lupe put into the game. But he's not going to win off of it because one, people didn't put money into Lupe and his label fucked him.
Yeah, but however, to say
Context.
that Lupe is this, no.
Context.
He was because
Context.
to me
I'm not talking about
because look, Lupe came out last generation. This generation is 2010, 2002, 2020.
2010. Maybe you
Last generations, yeah, I can
can get
understand
that
that.
argument.
This
However,
generation's
So
Nas
who
is J.
hot
Cole.
now
J.
has
Cole.
not copied Lupe's blueprint?
I don't think J. Cole
Who's
did.
hot now? I said.
I don't think J. Cole did.
J. Cole.
Yes, he has.
J. Cole did because guess what?
He Nas.
Who's the
Nas.
five artists Jay-Z bought out? Who's the five artists he co-signed? It was Bleak, it was Beans, it was Lupe, it was J. Cole,
It was
it
a Mill.
Jeezy,
It was a Mill.
Rick Ross at the same time.
It was Tina Marie.
I'm glad you said that. Out of that pick you just did, who had the better album? Beanie first, Jadakiss first. Who had the better album?
Beans.
you must be out your mind.
Classic. Truth is a classic.
No, it wasn't.
Kiss the Game.
You're trying to say that
Kiss the Death?
Beans albums are not better than
No,
Jadakiss's
he
album?
said Jadakiss's album is even. The truth was way better than Kiss the Game.
I got a reason.
I'm talking about baby in the face.
Yo, I got one
What's your life like, nigga?
No.
What's your life like, my nigga?
Stop.
You should have been there. Chris, this is for you. I'm going to sing the song, and he hates me for saying this. Player, stop talking. Skip.
If you want to be a player, hold it down. Yo, Emil, that shit.
And you was a player. Get the heck out of here.
The reason, yo.
Who had the better album?
Pac-Man with the Pac-Man beat? You out of your mind. You out of your
Remember the
mind.
days?
Go make it. Even.
Man's World?
Who won the battle though?
Man's World or
Even.
First of all, can we be honest? The Truth beat is better than fucking Jadakiss's whole album.
It wasn't better
Period.
than We Gonna Make It.
You must be crazy. Kanye murdered that that shit.
Actually, hold up, wait a minute.
No,
Beanie was a battle.
Not Beanie won that battle. Jada was not better. No,
Jada won the battle. Jada won the battle.
This Beans and Philly.
No, that's why Jada won the battle. Because during the battle, Beans didn't even write his own lyrics during that battle.
I didn't know that.
Okay, so listen to remember the speculation game is over. I'm a son of Jay, like the song that made Jay to the Walk. State Property wrote that. That was a group record. That's why they were doing the ad-libs during the freestyle, because they wrote that shit.
Oh, because they already heard it.
Look at the Petey Crack interview with Vlad and Drake Traps.
He just had it in there.
Yeah, Vlad and Drake Traps, and look at the Oskino Sparks. Both of them, they all said they wrote those lyrics together, and Beans was spitting their lyrics during the diss track.
Oh shit.
So because of that, we in the era where if you don't write your own rap, you ain't the best. Jada won. Stop that.
Actually, yeah.
And that's another album, Against the Gentleman. Is that considered a classic or is that a cult classic?
That's a cult classic.
Really, even though it's a flawless album.
Yo,
I wouldn't say it's flawless.
I think Reflection Eternal is a cult classic. I don't think that's a classic.
No, Gangsta and the Gentleman is a dope record. I wouldn't consider it a classic. First of all,
okay,
Bismarck's album. Bismarck's first album. Big Daddy Kane first album.
Big Daddy
You
Kane.
might as well have both the same album.
They're both
the same album.
I gotta know. That's the difference is that Biz was more fun, jokey.
We enjoyed that shit.
But that was Big Daddy Kane's lyrics. It wasn't Bismarcky.
It was like Big Daddy Kane is a writer. He said, I'm gonna write a comedy strip, right? And I'm gonna write a drama, or you know, more, you know.
So can I ask a question? So out of the new artists or anything new that you've heard, what would you guys say that is potentially a classic, or what you say is a classic?
I got 4 albums I'll give you right now.
Go ahead.
YBN Corday, Lost Kid, that Lost Kid, that has potential to be
a classic.
The next one, Lil Brother joint.
Which one?
Made a Lord Watch.
That's potential because of the nostalgia.
Mm-hmm.
That it was. I mean, you say classic, but the Cold War. I think you said out of just today's artists.
It could be today or Kendrick. It could be within the last past 10 years.
Shit, Samaj Savage, bro.
In the last past 10 years.
Fucking Trust the Wick. What?
That is going to be a cult classic.
And fucking Gail Campbell, man. That Bloody Woods, like those are some great albums. But if you want to keep it mainstream, fuck the mainstream.
No, not mainstream. No.
You know who's nice? What's that shit you told me? Saba?
Yeah.
That was yo. And that Madlib and
I gotta get the Biz album though, yo.
Over time.
Pink Slips and Black.
First of all,
I gotta get the Biz album. Yo.
That to me right now is still #1 to me as the best record, because it's maybe because of my bias. I'll say that, but I was trying to really figure out, okay, after Pinata, because when, like I said, I listen to beats all day, so when I listen to that beat tape, I'm sitting there like, what can they fucking possibly do that was better than this? Like people talk about Pinata, but they don't talk about Pinata. It should be in conversations as one of the best record of this decade, one of them. But when they came out with freaking Bandana, it was just totally different. First of all, #1, nobody had ever heard Madlib do a trap beat, so
Freddie Gibbs?
yeah, that shit. But
Freddie Gibbs album.
But truth be told, it was creative because you got a basically a drug rap off of Madlib beats.
No, it's considered one of the best albums this year.
Who?
Bandana.
I think it's already been. I think it's quietly got forgotten. Quietly.
No.
People are talking about that. Still trying to bring it back up.
No, Bandana is busy.
Okay, I'm gonna throw some albums out. Victory Lap.
No, it's a classic.
No, we talk about today's. We talk about today.
Oh yeah. Nobody answered my question first. Though.
Oh, sorry, bro.
You named it. You said 4. I said, give me an album. I said you consider.
I'm gonna say Victory Lap. I'm gonna go with Good Kid, Mad City. Forest Hill Drive. This is gonna be my.
Yeah, put Nick Gray
I'm gonna say this album.
Cadillac.
No, Big Crit's second album, Cadillac.
Cadillac. I knew he was gonna do it. I knew it, yo.
I'm gonna go with Cadillac.
Cadillac is dope, but I don't think that's the classic.
But the thing is that so many Southerners and East Coast people love
Crit. They love what he's doing. They love the sound. Everybody knows he's authentic. Everybody
Yeah,
knows
they didn't love this. They didn't love this last album.
I found Mike.
They didn't love this last album. No, it was not.
Yes, it was. What Mississippi was fire.
Crit was here?
Crit was here. Yeah.
2019? Crit?
Yeah, that shit is not great, bro. He disappointed a lot of people with that shit.
The biggest problem on that album was that people were disappointed that he didn't produce the whole album. And
No, it wasn't. He finally had an opportunity to do a J. Cole and he missed.
That's true.
And he missed. That's what happened.
I think Big Crit ain't even like he got a clip
The best
underground niggas in the South. Like Scotty ATL, I think is hotter than that nigga. No, who you got, bro? Who you know?
I listen to him.
Oh, you know what? He just I forgot. Royce, what we say? YG and DJ Mustard's album. The first album, the one with
YG's first album.
Yeah, YG's first
Yeah,
album.
that shit was dope as fuck. I wouldn't say it's a classic.
I wouldn't say it's a classic. I say it's dope.
That's
He's the first rapper from LA to blow up with no NWA connection.
That shit dope as fuck.
With no connection to nothing.
You never heard YG first? Yeah, go back. It gives you, and I think I told you this, DJ Quick. It makes you feel like
it is that type of.
It gives you a DJ Quick vibe.
Wow, yeah.
His first.
What's your vibe? Wait, what's your vibe? Don't make it the grown. He said independent. So
I say right now, I say the Pimp a Butterfly. I'll go with what's another one?
It's so much good music nowadays.
Yeah, that's what I'm like.
You ain't gotta do 4. You can do 2.
No. But if we was talking about 2019, I'll go with
album. I make it album.
exactly.
I gotta give The Lost Boy a chance. Like it just,
Lost Boy's good.
That shit is really dope.
Which one though? First or
No, we're talking about
YB.
It's a really good album. It's a really good record. I wouldn't consider it a classic.
Not yet.
because it needs time. It needs time. But is it a Florence album? I couldn't tell you why.
I'm gonna tell you this. Remember I posted that that's gonna be. That's why I listened to what you said. But check it out. That's one of those that I know is going to be a classic record. From the moment I heard it, and then watching the reaction. All the older people are jumping, all the old heads, the ones that really know hip hop, even the young kids, everyone is loving this album. I'll go in different places, they're like, yo, you heard that YB in court? I'm like, yo, this is gonna be one of those, yo. He's gonna be one of those, yo.
Well, most classics get created. The only thing I question in regards to like most classics, influence, because with certain classic records, we see a change of the guard at all times. You brought up a good point, or you were correct, brought up a good point with Mecca and the Soul Brothers, and you did too in regards to production. Now,
I made people making. I had to go make.
But truth be told, everybody knew what they was getting with Good Kid, Mad City because they heard Section 80. Section 80, even though I consider that's a classic within itself.
You think so?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Because if you understand what's going on, when you hear High Power, you should automatically get what's going on.
There's another cold classic I'll give you. Absol Control System.
Yeah, Control System was dope
too. Cold classic.
Definitely cold classic.
But I'll tell you this.
And Schoolboy Q's hat. Schoolboy Q.
Schoolboy Q ain't got no word classic behind none of his fucking albums. Get the fuck out of here.
Rainface?
Get the fuck out of here.
Not Rainface, but
so overrated, bro. That nigga is so fucking rated.
I just fucking
and if you watching and he wanted, let's rock.
All day.
Smoke the shit out of him.
I ain't say all that.
So overrated.
I ain't say all that.
Let me ask you this album. I consider this album a classic.
You know what to do.
And some people agree and some people disagree. It's either 50-50 or
UGK Rodney Dirty. Oh, you just lost your whole southern base.
Let me make my point. Let me hit my album. What do y'all think about Exhibit's 40 Days, 40 Nights, 40 Tracks?
I don't think I ever heard that.
No.
Okay, this is my beef with that album. This is my beef with that album.
It was too long.
That's a cult classic.
Remember, I was listening to everything.
This is my album.
Yeah, it's not a cult classic.
Listen, this is what I'm gonna say about this album, and I hate to put album battle to battle because again, they're all their own separate body work.
It's decent.
At the Speed of Life was more underground Exhibit story. It was darker and had production by Diamond D, DJ Muggs.
I just fuck with the Mobb Deep remix on that.
Asmi Shine, okay,
Asmi Shine, That Havoc beat is fire, bro.
But you know what's crazy is that when 40 Days and 40 Nights, it felt like he was trying to sound more West Coast because he had what's his name? He had Sir Jinx. He had Superfly. Because that song with J.O. Felony, I thought it was a skipper. I was kind of disappointed in the alcoholic track. Let It Rain. I was kind of disappointed in that. But the songs on it like Focus.
Montage 1.
What's the joke? Montage 1. The last song. Yeah, it had some great.
I got two good ones.
Okay. What's up?
Ready to Die, Life After Death.
What's the better album?
That's the classic.
Ready to Die.
They're both classic.
Are we talking?
Actually, no, I don't agree.
No.
I think Life After Death. Personally, I think Life After Death is one of the greatest hip hop albums of all time.
Oh, it didn't have too many songs?
If not.
It didn't have too many
That's the
songs?
best double CD album ever made.
CD is incredible. The best double CD album ever made. You can listen to it from beginning to the. Yes. What? Don't shit to me. What is wrong with you? What is wrong with you? What?
I used this argument because I hated that. But like you said, over time, I understood it. Over time, but truth be told, that was one of Premier's best beats on there.
Life After Death is.
And when I found out this nigga was gonna get that shit to Angie Martinez, I almost.
It was already Angie Martinez's song. It was already.
Yeah. When I heard about that, I was like, that's some fuck shit. I would have never gave her that shit. Never.
What would you do with the better guns? No disrespect to KG and all that. I know we love Jersey, but no.
Helter Skelter.
First album.
First album.
Nocturnal.
Smith and Wesson's new album.
Oh, it's Helter Skelter.
Right now.
Helter Skelter. I will tell you this.
Helter Skelter. One of the greatest. One of the greatest.
That's a cult classic, though.
Both of y'all, did y'all hear the last Smith and Wesson album?
I don't think I did. That's why.
Yes,
I did. With the song with Music Child. I heard that shit.
New shit. Now I will tell you something. So these are two albums that again get cult classic because these are BCC lovers.
Right.
The Shining, and Nocturnal.
Right.
And I will slowly even grow in The Storm. I was slowly throwing in The Storm.
Wait, don't bring them in. Wait.
I was slowly throwing in too.
Let's go back to you know why a lot of people started following The Shining? Because after what the source shitted on them, gave them 3 months. I remember I was in the cafeteria, was mad as hell. Like, this is some bullshit, bro. Is they crazy?
And you know what they was complaining about?
Right.
You know why they was complaining about that?
Crazy?
You know why they was complaining about that?
The Shining is a
too much like Black Moon. And it did it.
I said,
No, Shining was.
I said, that's what I was like.
Shining was better than Into the Stage.
Yes, it was.
Yes, it was. To the Stage, Joe.
But let me do this.
The new album is dope.
Let me do this.
Now get this twisted.
Resurrection or B?
I like Resurrection more. I like Resurrection more.
Kyle is one of the most underappreciated artists of all time.
Okay, so here's
I
the
like
thing.
Resurrection.
That's a biased one for me because Resurrection, and this goes into your era discussion, meant more to me. I was going through something.
Yeah, I've been meant more to me too.
I was going through something.
I meant more to me too.
It carried me through something.
That made me start rapping.
That has a special place in my heart.
Yeah.
In my personal opinion, I personally liked Resurrection more. But I can't understand for the time period of the 2000s when we were going through that, we were mixing between trying to get out of crunk and then soul music where it's Kanye. It brought a Kanye production that we needed.
Truth be told, Finding Forever was better.
I agree. No,
so we needed B to be that flow.
Break my heart, bro. Yeah. Break my heart.
I agree.
Are you serious?
Misunderstood.
Misunderstood. Find it for
Chi-Town.
But really, it was the same. You know, it was a double album.
Yeah, really, it was.
It's the same.
But if you had asked me, music-wise, which was better, I would go with Finding Forever.
I would say that.
It was more aggressive.
This is Finding Forever right here.
You're smoking dust. No.
Nah.
Karev, no. What's it? He's made?
No.
He kicked that shit over the wall.
Listen,
I agree.
here's an album that's a classic. If you don't like it, I don't care. This is a classic.
B is still a classic.
Monumental. Pete Rock and Smith and Wesson. And that's the album people don't talk about.
Or how about Knife Wonder Buckshot?
The first one. No. I'm going to tell you why it's not a classic.
Buckshot did not even shine on that fucking album. Nice beat shine. And when Fonte shitted on the other song, nah, I'm good.
Maybe I'm thinking about the second album. Hold on, let me get my
You talking about the chemistry or the other joint?
What was the second one? What's the name of the second
The Formula.
The Formula, that's what
Okay, because the chemistry.
Formula. No.
I ain't going to outshot Buckshot.
In all honesty, I kind of like the Beat Miners Formula mix a little better.
I
kind of like that.
On the chemistry, the best. I got this shit on my phone. Yo, that song, How Do You Make Your Bread in the Ghetto? Buckshot didn't rip that shit. The beat ripped Buckshot.
So can I ask you something? I mean, I know we East Coast. We come from Jersey, especially from the Bridge.
Nigga 8-Ball MJG pimpin'. Space Age Pimpin' is a classic. Fuck that shit.
Yeah, so but you know what? Like the biggest issue we got messed up.
Why you had to go there?
Nice and smooth first album.
Why you had to go there?
Classic singles, album wise.
Because of the influence. They
changed shit.
When you talk about, you want to know, you want to know what
That's all they wanted to get.
So why was that Kid a Play second album?
Can I be honest with you? That's why his ass say LL Cool J album is a classic because they kept the New Jack Swing shit going.
I don't know, my ass, yo, Nice and Smooth made it cool to sing on your record, yo. And be a rapper.
First album?
Yeah.
They was the Drake back then, yo. Like they could sing and rap.
Dizzy Gillespie plays the sax, nigga?
Oh no. Come on, yo. Yeah.
He don't even play the sax.
Nobody, but the thing is that
He don't even play the sax. That was the funny shit about it.
My biggest complaint around that time was lyrics. We care about lyrics.
That wasn't the era of lyrics.
Yes, it was.
When they came out, they changed the sound.
Smooth B wasn't nice. Smooth B wasn't nice.
It wasn't about that. It wasn't about that.
Nice was it?
Because we still, wait, hold on. Let me shut him up real quick. You know why we wasn't worried about that? Because we still had Gangstar right there, bro. It wasn't about that. It was about the sound and the funny shit. The era of what they dropped.
Shit now.
Stop playing with me, bro.
Oh. Gangstar's classic, in your opinion.
Which
First album?
Which one? Daily Operation.
Daily Operation is an absolute.
I've been saying this for 20 years. Fuck all y'all. When that shit come on,
Yeah, that and that was dope.
Take it personal.
I'm the man.
That was dope.
I'm the man. Are you kidding me,
bro?
And then when the premiere scratching with the drops on 2D.
First and foremost, let's not even talk about how I'm the man switches beats like three times.
And that's three different beats.
And who had the best verse?
J. Rue.
Oh, J. Rue. Damn. What?
Is that a classic?
First album?
That's a hands down classic.
My dick. No,
That was the first classic. The Sunrises in the East. That is a cold classic. That is a cold classic. You can knock.
But can I be honest with you?
What's up?
Both of them was to me.
Premier's best production came from the from
Sunrises in the East.
No,
Gangstar's. I think Group Home's album. Group Home's album. I wish you would have gave those beats.
Remember we had this talk, and I was like, "Yo, I love, you know, I fucks with Gangstar."
MOP what?
But when I heard the Sunrises in the East, I was like,
MOP.
This nigga made a beat off of Static. Okay, I'm good, but then this nigga made a whole. He made an album. He made an album, a musical album. It made sense. Like, but he gave it to the wrong group.
I wish you would have given him the AC.
So what you say about MOP?
I'm asking MOP's first album. Cypress Hill's first album.
Every one of MOP's albums is a classic to me. I'm sorry.
Cypress Hill first album way better than MOP first album.
You think so?
Yeah, no, I believe so.
Yes.
Fuck thinking, I believe so.
But I was biased because I didn't like
the
MOP first album.
Ever, yo. How could just kill a man? The only song that can
That's
fuck with
one
that
of the illest
is How About Some
songs
Hardcore.
ever.
That's it.
Fucking pigs.
How Man is one of the illest songs ever.
Cypress Hill shit. Be Real's voice
Hand on the pump.
was crazy.
My father used to play that record, girl. Hand on the pump.
To the death though, bro.
To the death is
Tell them
dope.
why. Tell them why. Tell them why you mad.
But Guns N' Roses ain't better than no song of Cypress Hill's first album.
Let me tell you something. Let me ask you something, Karan.
What's up?
Name me a bar from Sendog on that album.
Oh yeah. Let me hear this.
Good one.
Good one. Let me hear this.
Because the motherfucking Robert got you humming. Remember that shit? That's the bar right there, nigga.
Sendog is so wacky, ain't worth this.
It don't matter because guess what? Greg Knight was was so whack. He ain't work this, but Nice and Smooth will go out and issue one of the best influential hip hop groups ever. So give Snoop Dogg his respect because Flavor Flav can't rap, but that motherfucker Yeah Boy is all over the place, and niggas love Public Enemy. So fuck that shit. That don't mean nothing.
It is fact.
But he can't bar nobody. But that nigga big ass lip, he can pull that shit down and start boiling, start beatboxing, and he'll rip niggas. Nah, that don't mean nothing.
Songs, not classic.
I don't know.
Yo, fuck that. Cypress Hill first album and that Insane the Membrane shit too. Those are fucking classics.
Yo, we used to play the Cypress Hill second album. All right.
Let's end on the wild note right now. Ice Cube first album, KRS-One first album.
Wait. BDP or KRS-One?
I said they first album.
Wait, BDP or KRS-One? Because it was two different things.
They first album.
BDP.
KRS-One first album.
He's going with
Ice Cube first album.
What are we talking about?
That's what I'm saying because
KRS-One
had two first albums. He had the BDP album, then he had Return to Boom Bap.
Solo. I said KRS-One.
His solo? America's Most Wanted. But Return to Boom Bap is a fucking still a classic. That's a primo album.
That's a
He goes all over that album too.
What?
Because it's different eras though, but
No, what?
Talk.
Music.
All right, pick up.
I'm trying to help with the new music.
Pick up.
era at that time.
What?
Because you gotta understand, the Bomb Squad was the shit during that time, especially during the climate of that time, especially during the late going into the 90s. But when you talk about Return of the Boom Bap,
I'm gonna tell you
that was Premier and KRS-One right there.
But I'm gonna tell you the difference for me. I'm gonna tell you why I pick Ice Cube. Because when Ice Cube left the group, NWA, and Eazy-E said Ice Cube writes the rhymes that I said, niggas wanted to really see can Ice Cube carry. Because what people did not know is Ice Cube and NWA had an internal beef between Ice Cube and DOC. Because if you all remember DOC's album, Grand Finale, I think it is called?
No, it was called
Grand Finale. Ice Cube is the shit on the Grand Finale. That's the shit, right? Word to me, fuck the father. That song, when he said that shit, that was Ice Cube's last song with them. Yeah. And that's when the beef really escalated. And that's why you saw DOC and everybody going to DOC because when Niggas for Life supposed to come out, if he didn't get into that accident, DOC was supposed to take Ice Cube's place. And they like DOC because they say he could rock rhymes without cursing and Cube had to curse. So when Cube left that shit, it was important for people to see, can this West Coast nigga really rock? And then he transcended the coast. That's why I say that. KRS-One was different because there was no more BDP. So what it was is, can this nigga stay relevant as the teacher, not just an old nigga trying to rhyme with a new generation coming in? Because after that album came out, that's when he started mentoring Redman. That's when you start seeing Just a Friend and him and Angie and Dougie Fresh getting together doing shit. So for me, the change was Cube more because it meant more to the overall thing of hip hop.
But you gotta, but also it was important. But truth be told, if you really wanted to ask a West Coaster, America's Most Wanted a death certificate. What we talking about?
Death certificate.
Death certificate, hands down.
No, but why? Because he dissed NWA. That's why. That's why I was gonna stand out.
I don't know about just that.
It wasn't just no Vaseline was not the only song.
That album.
No, Vaseline was not the only song.
But you said a West Coast dude. No, so NWA is here to the West Coast. And if you diss them, that's big news.
If you ask an average person, that's the first thing he's gonna say, because that's what he remembers. He's not gonna tell you anything in depth about his album. Those motherfuckers don't pay attention to albums like that.
Not no more.
Steady Mobbit.
Yeah, Steady Mobbit.
Giving up the nappy dugout.
How about this? Everybody talking about the singles. What about I Want to Kill Sam? That song right there is a gem that fucks with the KRS-One album because you got Black Cop that gets I Want to Kill Sam. Tell me about that shit, yo. Now see, those are two of my top. They're in my top 10. Keep my top 5.
Let me ask you a question. Remember, you said timeless music and classic music.
Yes.
Ice Cube was a classic, but Black Cop is timeless because they still play Black Cop.
So you're trying to say Ice Cube has no timeless music in that first album?
They're resurrected.
No. What I'm saying is, we know the Sam record. We know that how powerful that was.
Yeah.
But truth be told, what do you hear more? You hear that record or do you hear Black Cop?
I'm gonna tell you why. Because Black Cop was a single.
And it was a good day.
For one. If we gonna talk timeless, that's unfair. But you're talking about a single versus an album cut.
Yeah, I'm talking about
that's very unfair. You can't do that.
They're playing albums
Okay,
that have
fuck
more shine than
that.
singles.
To go back to your point of Pete Rock, we're gonna change the mode a little bit. Pete Rock, I think, is one of the greatest producers who's underappreciated. Everybody
think so?
Okay.
You don't think he's underappreciated?
I don't think he's appreciated for who he is.
I don't think he's appreciated by the masses. I think
exactly.
He's appreciated by like insiders.
Right, because look,
I think the outsiders gave Jay Dilla the props that Pete Rock deserved.
no, I don't think Jay Dilla. I don't even think Jay Dilla get the respect he's supposed to get.
No, he don't need.
But wait, let me go to my point. When a producer is hot, the producer changes the game, not the sound, the game. Let me show you what I mean.
I agree.
Everybody talking about Dr. Dre. Dr. Dre did not change the game with NWA. He changed the game with that song Bilal and Jadakiss. That's when he changed the game.
What song?
Because then the ones Bilal and Jadakiss, Fastlane. This is why I say he changed the game. Because niggas didn't hear Dr. Dre do R&B beats. They was just, oh, that nigga just do rap. He just rap real well.
He was doing just with Mr. Lady.
Yeah.
Dr. Dre didn't do all them beats.
Yes, he did.
He did
Yes,
not.
he did.
Okay, wait.
He did something in my heart. He produced something in my heart.
No. Listen, wait. Y'all not hearing me? No, because they stole that beat. You're not hearing me. Dr. Dre has lawsuits with Hitman, Daz, and two other guys where they say he didn't do them beats. They put in them beats and he put his name on it.
Badass did a lot of the Chronic. The first Chronic.
No, but that was during the Death Row era.
Scott Storch did a lot of them beats as well.
So that's what I'm saying.
He did a lot.
Dre changed the game with that because that was Dre. Because you knew that was Dre. Nobody else came. There was no, nah, Dre stole that from me. No, that was Dre. Just like that bullshit Compton album that came out.
That shit was incredible.
No.
That was amazing.
That was a flop.
No.
Compton shit. That shit was amazing. From beginning to end, yo. How was that not dope, yo? Oh my God, yo.
Kendrick wrote that whole album.
We'll talk about that later.
Okay.
One point. But with Pete Rock, right? Like I said, when people they changed the game. Landscape. Primo was always Gangstar, but when he got with Biggie and other people, crazy. Pete Rock, I say, because if you really look at when we talk about the Bomb Squad, when Public Enemy stopped fucking with the Bomb Squad, who did their production? Pete Rock did all their remixes and brought Public Enemy back. That's how Ninth Wonder falls under the Pete Rock tree. Because he went from...
Nah, he don't fall under that.
You're kidding? He said it himself.
Very much so.
He said it himself.
That's a heavy influence.
Yo, he said it himself. That's why that song he did with Lil Brother and Pete Rock, that's why they was pumping that shit so hard.
He definitely.
No.
He said he comes from the Pete Rock tree.
All of them.
That's all Pete Rock kids.
Kanye West.
The only person who don't come from Pete, the only person who was real good don't come from Pete Rock is the RZA.
Yeah.
He the only one. Yo, that's why. Yo,
To be honest, when I look at Trees, he could say that because that's his brother. But truth be told, what Pete Rock say about Jay Dilla, he transcended way past where I was.
But here's the thing about Jay Dilla. Here's the one thing about Jay Dilla that bothers me. It's not that he died. The thing that bothers me about Jay Dilla is this. Jay Dilla was not accepted by people in the game at the highest level, and people shitted on him for that. That's the only thing.
And that's the cosign.
That's a good point.
Because when the Black Album came out, and Jay said
he wanted. He said Jay
sent him a beat, and Jay said that all that shit lazy. I can't fuck with none of your music. That's what fucked Dilla over. Was that?
Damn, they kind of blackballed him.
Yeah, exactly.
No, because he was still working with Underground Detroit.
No,
he's still in Detroit.
You know what?
Underground, though, that blackballed him.
But Jay-Z was like, nah, I can't use on your beats. You fuck your beats on.
All he had to do was been over.
Look what he did for Ninth Wonder.
That's not Jay-Z.
It's over.
It's common.
Jay-Z shit on Jay Dilla, and you know the one song Jay Dilla did that should have blew up was fucking that song with Busta Rhymes and Biggie, but Busta Rhymes was scared to put the song out because Biggie would have popped so hard that Busta Rhymes didn't want to be on that.
I know about that.
That's it. That's it.
But that.
Side note. Did y'all ever know what the original Victory album Victory was?
It was a different.
Victory. Who was on the original Victory?
I forgot, but it was this.
The original Victory was the what was it called? The Commission.
Wasn't the Locks on it?
No.
It was Biggie, Jay.
No. It was Biggie, Busta Rhymes on the hook, and Puffy's verse was supposed to be on Nas's spot. And they were supposed to go at Pop on Victory. That's why it was called Victory, and so they over that nigga.
Oh yeah.
That was the first single from the Commission album.
That whole shit around.
Yep.
Wow, I never
That right there, and to go back to classic. Stories like that make albums classic.
But be clear.
Let me ask you something. Was Puff Daddy and the Family's album a classic album?
No.
No.
Nah.
I got y'all. Here we go with this one. New Generation. Do Drake got a classic album?
No. I won't even pitch on Drake albums. Fuck no.
Nah,
You're
but
bugging.
That sounds biased, right?
You're bugging. Does
No.
Drake have a classic album?
I'm gonna say this.
The closest one is that Take Care
Versus
shit.
or
That
album?
is the classic album.
I don't like that shit.
This is my, and I'm not a
Absolute
Drake
classic.
fan at all because I don't think a dude can be that much emotional ever in life.
Why not?
But
Nigga, Keith Sweat emotional. He
Right,
got
what are you
classic.
talking about?
a rapper at least, okay.
A rapper who's emotional?
Actually, this is my beef with Drake because of Exhibit's line in Paparazzi.
Ghostface
He's a
is
rapper
emotional.
with a record deal trying to play a part. I always feel that he's a rapper with scripts and he's just performing them. That's always been my big beef with Drake.
Wow, that's
Sorry,
I will-
that's deep.
That's
Now,
deep.
now, I will say this.
There's mad rappers that
I will say
play a
this.
part.
Did
though, so-
Drake,
Come on, yo.
everything else, did Drake change the game? Do people bite
Yes,
Drake's style?
absolutely,
Do people
yes.
follow him? What is the album they all talk
Yes.
about Drake? Take
Take
Care.
Care.
Take
So
Care.
is Take Care a classic in that format?
Absolutely.
Yes.
As
Is
a
it a
R&B
flawless?
singer or
Is
rap?
it a flawless album?
But
No.
Heck no. Heck
Both,
no.
both. Yeah, it's like a Lauren joint. It's like everything. Everything is on.
Alright, so it's both.
Yeah.
How about saying
Take Care.
R&B?
It's a transcendent album.
Take Care is
More
a
than one
transcendent
genre.
record. Yeah. Take
That shit
Care
is
is a
honest
classic record.
tough.
I he get that.
Take Care
That's
is a
why.
classic
That's
record.
what I say. They're albums that people blame.
I want to argue on a point though. You just said that he's a rapper playing a part. So every rapper that has ever spit
Other people's lyrics
was real. Every rapper that has ever spit is not playing a part. You think all these rappers out here really killed this many niggas?
No,
it's the same shit.
No, but it's called. But that's being called a creative writer. You don't have to write your
It's the
personal
same
life
shit.
to be a. You don't have to be you don't have to write your life to make a rap album. You can be creative. You can say another person's story. You can do that. But having somebody write your rhymes,
But
you
Drake
are
didn't
now
have
a performer.
But Drake didn't have every single rhyme wrote for him. So let's get out of that. Just because he collaborated does not mean nothing shit. Because if we're gonna go back to that, then we're gonna say that Queen Latifah is the same thing. Because she had and Foxy too. Because Queen Latifah had a whole fucking album written by
Jay-Z
Drake.
wrote Foxy shit.
So, so just because rappers collaborate does not take away from their artistry.
That's a good point. So now, and we're in the age of the female rapper. Do any female rappers have classic albums?
I hate to say this, and
Nowadays,
it's gonna hurt me.
Period.
Oh hell yeah!
Kim's first album?
Oh yeah!
Okay.
Kim's first album, Hell is Hardcore? Absolutely.
Okay.
That transcended the whole sound. Everyone started sounding like Little
Yo,
Kim after that.
you might get
So
some
Lil
class,
Kim,
but
everybody
the letters off.
no, not because of that
That shit was
album. They started following that from the Junior Mafia album.
Junior Mafia album was ass.
It was ass
But they
doo-doo.
was following what Lil Kim was doing from that album.
Whatever, they still were
Alright,
following Little Kim.
so Kim's first album,
So are we gonna
Foxy's
say-
first album. Who had the better album?
Lil Kim.
Kim by far.
I agree with that.
So are we?
Who had the best album as a female?
Funk the Five was it a classic?
No.
No, it was a dope album.
It was a classic.
So can I say? Can I say?
It was a dope record. I want to
So
say classic.
they all gonna come from Jersey. Black Rain,
Woo, shit.
the
Yeah.
Miseducation of Lauryn Hill,
Yes, Lord.
and
Oh, well, we already established that one.
And
Let's
Dirty
leave Lauren
Harry.
out of it. We already established.
Dirty Harriet.
Dirty
Harry.
Harry. Classic.
Not a classic, but dope.
I consider it a cult classic.
classic.
Yeah, you know I'm with you on that. Go classic.
Dirty Harry, cool.
I don't think there's any
The
female
Brits.
rappers that got classic albums.
Other than
Black
Lauren?
Rain.
But
What about Trina's first
I'm not
album?
giving
What
her
y'all
Black
think?
Rain. I'm sorry, Black Rain was Tretch. I'm sorry. I'm not fucking giving Queen Latifah.
Give me
Black
5 on the Black
fucking-
Hand side.
That
Give me more.
Tretch
Give me
wrote
5
the
on
entire
Black Hand
record. I'm sorry. I'm not giving that. I love you, Queen Latifah, but I'm sorry.
Queen Latifah, please
Tell me one
please say add ballad music.
that has a classic album. Because the best female album I've heard ever is not even in nobody's top 5, and that's Lin Q. And Bahamadia shit.
Rhapsody, Lauren Hill. Rhapsody,
I can't say
you know what? Bahamadia.
I hate it.
No, wait, because I know you
Tell you go get a bitch shit, and you'll tell me later on.
With
I got it.
Bahamadia, the main issue why that first record wouldn't considered a classic, the production saved her because a lot of females,
We're not rocking with that.
well, she was too monotone and she only had one style.
Yeah.
So when she was getting all these beats from Premier, Ski and all these guys, they sitting there. She's rocking with it, but that's it.
I'm gonna fuck y'all up with this one. Because of the era, like my nigga just said,
I got an album for you.
Classic now.
I got an album for you. Lady of Rage's first album on Death Row.
What was it?
Untouchable.
I'll tell you this though.
It came out after her time, so niggas didn't appreciate it.
I'll tell you this, based off of era,
That's a solid album.
Cardi B's first album will be considered a classic.
I think it will.
Yeah, because of
I think it will. I ain't gonna front. I think it will.
And that shit is not a classic.
It's not.
It's whack.
It's not. But it will be considered
a classic because of influence.
We forgetting about Eve. Was it Eve first album classic?
No way.
I think the second album was better.
Eve first album,
No way.
Yo, wait.
She was dope.
Link Q. You talk about the X-Clan? Go listen to the ISIS record if you can find it.
I don't know.
That shit was incredible.
It was dope.
Besides that, MC Light first album. That shit was incredible.
The whole thing.
But still,
Can't count the classic, bro.
So how about Boss? Niggas like Boss.
Boss was a gimmick.
You might as well say Patrick shit was
Boss was a gimmick. And Boss didn't even write her own rap.
That's what I'm saying. How about Mia X? Mia X?
She doesn't have a classic album.
Mia X doesn't have
The production was terrible. The
Yes,
production
Lord.
was
Beats by the Pound?
No Salt Pepper albums was classic?
No.
Nah.
What's the album with
First
Get Up?
one, y'all?
What's the album with Get Up? What's the album?
Think about the album, not the whole shit. I'm sorry.
So let me ask you,
Nah,
Lady
Salt
of
Pepper never had a
Rage.
classic.
Lady of Rage's album.
Oh, no.
They have a four album like
Yes,
that.
it did. The album with Death Row.
It came out after
Yeah.
That shit
You
was
bugging. You're bugging.
Nigga, that
The
shit-
album had production. This is the production. This is the production
Say
of
it
the
again.
album.
I didn't know she had
This is the production of the album.
That's after
This is the production of this album. This is the production of this album. DJ Premier, Easy Mo B.
What that mean?
Gas. That was the album.
So why he don't know about it?
Because he ain't look it up.
Trash.
Look it
Nigga,
up.
nobody know about it. Nobody never talked about it.
Nobody never talked about it.
She had dope verses on someone else's shit.
Unnecessary Roughness was a great record.
But by herself, cut it out.
That album was
It was an okay record, but you had fillers in there.
You gotta be kidding me, nigga.
But I'm sorry,
Crazy.
What's up?
because I didn't get to my point when you was like with the Jay Dilla shit. You have to be clear. Jay Dilla wasn't that guy nonetheless anyway. Pay attention to the artist that he was fucking with.
Frank and Dane. I love Frank and Dane.
But understand this. You giving Jay-Z sounds that he has never used in any record he's
And that's
ever
why he's
made.
not the greatest of all time, because he can't adapt the sound. Fuck him.
I don't mean that. That just mean that wasn't his weight.
No, I can't say that. I can't say it because when you're a classic, now that's something we can talk about for this now. What defines a classic artist? Because you got artists who are classic artists that don't make classic albums, but they're loved.
But I gotta agree with Chief. You gotta understand.
It's his ear.
You gotta understand. Jay Dilla was a different wave. That was a smooth. That was a smooth. You gotta think about it. Look who he was around. Tribe Called Quest. What Tribe Called Quest record sounds like a Jay-Z record?
Like I say this. I put this out there. Ipkiss is one of the most amazing producers in Jersey, but I have not heard a beat from him yet that Chief Valley would pick.
Wow. Okay, but wait. But see, look.
Yet. And that's because we have not sat down and had a beat set.
Wait.
But all of stuff I've heard so far from myself.
From him.
And that doesn't mean that the shits are not fucking amazing.
Chief Valley on Facebook.
That doesn't mean that they're not amazing. Let me make this something that I
attack myself. I am not co-signing any of that.
No, let me make this point. The reason why, this is my personal belief. I could be wrong. You can hate me if you want to. I don't care. I don't know you. The thing that I have to say is this: what made Jay-Z scared to touch a Dilla beat is him touching Eminem's beat on Renegade and getting smoked. Because he should have never been on that.
But that shit was a slaughter, yo.
No.
Eminem had the beat already. That was his. We already had a verse.
The song came out.
The song was already done.
And Jay-Z verse, he didn't get smoked. Yo, Jay-Z verse,
Truth be told,
No, he got smoked. He got smoked.
listen to that shit, yo.
He got smoked. He got smoked.
Y'all listen to the flow.
But truth be told, to this day, Renegade wasn't even supposed to be.
I know. Did you hear the original song?
Yeah, it's
The original song is fucking way better than that.
It was supposed to be a worse than 5,000 Rock City.
Oh,
That was supposed to go on the Marshall Mathers
No,
record.
it's supposed to be on
No, it was supposed to be on Royce.
Rock City. That was Royce. That was Royce. Why you saying Royce was so upset?
That's why Eminem said Royce is the king on the bar.
No doubt.
He said Royce is the king of Detroit. He said it was
He took the song from him, smoked that nigga, and they made a classic. And keep in mind, at this time, M is still fresh, and Jay-Z was quote unquote the king, so he wanted to prove something.
My issue with Jay-Z
that nigga.
has always been, and Irv Gotti co-signed it, when Jay-Z wanted to chase after, and even Busta did the same thing, in the 90s, I think the biggest turning point in hip-hop was 1998. There was a time for everybody was scared to stay solid and stay underground and stayed at one point, and they said, you know what, especially on the East Coast, they said, yo, I gotta make this universal album, like everybody from the East and the West and the South all like you. So Jay-Z started saying, you know what, I need to find what's catchy, what's commercial. Let me follow what Bad Boys doing.
Annie?
No, I'm gonna say what Jay-Z did. Jay-Z said, let me do what Bad Boys doing. That didn't work. And then he said, you know what, let me see what Def Jam's doing. Let me follow that. Oh, you know what, Timberland's hot. Let me follow what Timberland's doing. It wasn't until he started coming back again, and that's why I would say, and I used to argue that it wasn't. That's when Blueprint became a class, because he decided, you know what, I'm going to stick to one sound. Even though he screwed up with Jigga that nigga and that whole Timberland joint. I thought he screwed up on that, but the rest of the album is that kind of.
But you gotta understand.
He decided to go with this a run.
Certain producers are acquired taste.
That's true.
You gotta understand, certain flows don't always match up, even though he hasn't worked with that artist. So think about at that time, the Black Album. Jay Dilla was working on Donuts at that point in a hospital bed. Have you listened to Donuts?
Of course.
What beat on there other than the Jay Electronica one where he took
Jay-Z would be on?
what Jay-Z would be on? Other than that, that's the only one, because everything else, we got Ghost on there, we hear that. We hear Frank and Denk on there, we hear Talib Kweli on there. Right. Listen to the artists. It's not, when you talk about mainstream artists, we only going by what everybody else is, what the clubs is listening to. You gotta understand. Like when Alchemist made a little interlude where they was like, oh, you work with Jay-Z? He's like, I never worked with Jay-Z. There's a reason for that. That's not Jay-Z mode. Maybe when it was Murder Inc., when the Murder Inc. was together, that might have worked. But it's not gonna, it wouldn't.
Like prime example, remember when the Lost Boys did the shit with Redman, Cannabis, and that beat? Why you think Cannabis smoked their ass? That shit was primarily made for
Beast
that
of the
nigga.
East, yeah.
Right? They didn't realize that, because there's no way in hell you put that man last if you realize that.
But Cannabis was smoking everything.
No, I'm talking about at that premier time, Red was that killer. Nigga, he murdered that shit. Why? Because of the art form and the shit that he was already ready for. They wasn't ready for that. They were just trying to test the waters. Shit was made for Cannabis, bro. Blew him right out the top.
So let me ask everybody a question, because we got a couple minutes and then we're going to end this out. Classic music, though, we had a large hip-hop discussion.
Okay.
And classic music, like we said, transcends the genres.
So shout out to all these Southern classics, all the West Coast
classics. Give me your top 5 classic albums.
Oh, I can't do that.
All
I
genres.
can't do that. I'm not too much music.
Sure you can.
I can't do that. Just narrow them down.
Let me start with you.
Damn, thanks.
There you go. Hi.
I'll start if you want me to start right out there.
I'll give you Innovisions.
Who?
I'll give you Life After Death.
Innovisions is who?
Stevie Wonder.
Let them know.
I'm sorry. Innovision, Stevie Wonder. Honestly, anything from Stevie Wonder. But Innovision, Stevie Wonder.
You said Life After Death.
Life After Death. I said Good Kid, Mad City before. I'll keep to that. Illmatic. And then the fourth one. I'm saying new person.
You said Kendrick earlier.
Yeah.
You know somebody else? Samara Savage.
Yeah, word. Samara Savage stressed away. Now, actually, no. The Gold Tape, Vertical Jones.
Yeah.
Okay.
420 nigga.
And Chief Valley. Same that.
I'm gonna go Thriller, Purple Rain, Snoop's first album. I'm gonna go.
It's gonna be tough, man.
I gotta go with The Chronic, and then I have to end it with Helter Skelter.
That's right.
I agree with all those. Second that emotion.
$5.
5 albums.
J Dilla Donuts.
We about to be
Oh, if we could do production,
Yes, whatever.
The Roots,
You've been doing it all day. Just keep it
do you want more?
No. Slow your roll. If you want, if I can do it that way, I say I'll go with Donuts, Mavillainy.
Oh yeah.
I'll go with The Minstrel Show.
Ooh,
I'll go.
Minstrel Show. Oh my
I'll
God.
go with.
I'm about to go listen to that now. Since you just said it.
I'll go with First Family for Life.
Oh.
That's what.
Give me that. Yo.
Cause you was like, did you fucking with that MOV? I said, hell yeah, this shit right here.
He said no.
That first beat, that
Every one of the albums to me was bananas.
But that right there, I fucks with that. Oh shit. Fuck, bro.
New person.
A new person? I'll go with The Pimp a Butterfly. I'll go with that. I'll even go with I'll go on record to say J-Lib. I'll go on record to say that. I could name some, but they just like Gordon said, they my opinions, you know what I mean?
And that's all that counts. We're not looking for definite because if we never heard music from year 1, we'll never hear music till year 9,000.
Right.
So it can only be yours.
Right.
UGK's first album too.
The first
I
one?
forgot about that one.
The first album?
First one.
I think Riding Dirty was their classic.
Riding Dirty was good.
Yeah, Riding Dirty was their
The
classic.
album?
Yeah, I slipped on the album. Now I'm looking good.
I understand what, because they first album only had, it was really an EP, but I ain't never heard no shit like that. I never heard no shit like that.
Yeah.
What's your
I was on the.
Let's
Oh Lord, we starting on wars. Oh God.
All right. Throw a rock.
Linkin Park, Meteora.
Okay.
And yes, I do like it over their first album, Hybrid Theory. Corn Issues.
Ooh. What you know about corn, bro?
That's a good one. That's a good pick.
Oh God.
They don't know shit about that. That thing like, ooh, what?
Because if you wanted to go there, I was going 9 Inch Nails first album. I mean, seriously.
Give me 5.
I didn't think about that word.
No, it's so. I'm sorry, Kareem. It's so many.
Yeah, it's so many. I'm gonna have to
Give me
go.
5 that comes touch your heart.
I'm gonna give you Lauryn Hill, Miseducation.
Okay.
This is when it gets rough because I'm gonna say this album because this is the album that really made me try to rap differently. This is a personal opinion. Both are good harmony. East 99 Eternal.
Okay.
So that is, that is. I'm at.
You don't think Bone gets talked about enough? Don't get talked about enough?
Second album.
And people can say like,
That's East 99
they get into a beat like first of all,
I'm not a Bone fan like that. Personally.
And to take it in, not for it to be unfair, every time they do get talked about, Twister comes in with them.
Yeah.
And that's corny.
I'm gonna go this, and I have to put in. Like I said, we going big.
But Twister was the first.
So I'm at 3. I'm gonna go with Mary J. Blige. What's the 4-1?
Yes.
Mary J. Blige.
Forgot about that album.
And shout out to North North. I'm gonna say this. Mark Anthony Contará con gente. That is way. Y'all gotta be. This is Mark. I know everybody loves his second album. It was his third album. That was the album that did it for me. So
My 5 albums.
and DLG's second album, DLG's first album. So there's just albums that just did more. These are mine. Like I said, I could go on. I could do 5 in different genres because I could do 5 compa. I could do 5 Southside still 5, but I ain't gonna do 5. I could do too many. So this is just 5 I can just think off the top of my head.
I'm gonna be real.
Yeah, dog sounds all day.
The 5 albums that marked my life as far as the best, not the best, but classic to me. Thriller will always be number 1. I think it's the most perfect album I've ever heard in my life. The second,
how did I forget Thriller? What's wrong with
the second one is Marvin Gaye, Ecology, with What's Going On it.
Yeah.
I think that's the first mixtape album ever made. Every song floated to the next song. Stevie wanted to copy that on his joint because that Marvin Gaye was the first one.
Yeah.
So Marvin, after that, we got Purple Rain, of course. My favorite hip hop album of all time is It Takes a Nation of Millions to Hold Us Back.
Yeah.
So that's top
that
for me.
and number 5 would be Anita Baker, The Rapture.
Woo! Dope, that's dope.
See, when you try, and then like if you want to, since y'all want to go rock, fucking Nirvana first album is the
Oh, what? Never mind?
Serious.
Oh my God, are you kidding me?
Red Hot Chili Peppers second album.
Oh, you kidding me?
Californication?
Yes, yes.
And for our youngins out there and the people that's tuning in through this message here, that means you need to really open your ears to everything. Not just one. You can't be in a box with music. You gotta open your ears to everything.
No. Bally said somebody new.
Radiohead's first album.
Bally always said somebody new.
Oh, I'm sorry, Karev.
Toxicity.
Portishead, Sour
Portishead,
and they album after that.
My nigga.
In the video where she's underwater, you ain't never heard Portishead?
Portishead, great.
First of all, Portishead beats was bananas down. That was okay.
What do you mean this album was a flawless album?
Oh, System of a Down?
You don't know about Portishead? Oh, look it up, bro.
I'm sorry to tell you.
Look it up, bro. You say you don't know nothing about Portishead? You don't know nothing about Portishead? No, he gotta search that, bro.
What about Sublime? I'm sorry.
It's Sublime.
You gotta search that.
Well, I don't know what it is.
Oh, I'm sorry.
All right, so everybody out there, something new. I said something new for the anime generation. Samurai Champloo soundtrack.
Okay.
Ninja ABs and all of them. You know what I'm saying?
Got you.
But we're in the last 30 seconds, so please reintroduce yourself. Shout out your social media so people can find you.
Lex at Diamonds on Twitter. Shout out to the homie Samad Savage, repping for the homie Jersey. Trust the weird kids, follow that boy Samad Savage and listen to this album. Phenomenal. Jersey hip hop, we rep that.
Again, this is second man of the Bally Hour. Blues 360 Degrees. You can check our strands on the Bally Hour 420 show, or you can go on Blue G 360 420.
Grumpy old man, y'all already know what it is. A Squad Rubber Radio. Save the kids and go check out Shop Topics. Straight like that. Peace.
Chief Bally 420. IG is 420 Chief, CHEEF. Check out the Bally Hour every Sunday, 8 o'clock on A Squad Rebel Radio. And the Hateful Ladies out right now. New single, September 28th, Redemption. You already know.
You folks.
You said that a little bit too fast.
Yeah, too fast.
Oh, first single of that new project. Redemption coming soon, September 28th will be released. Make sure you check it for that.
So everybody out there, remember the Mike Council is not an interview show. It's for the MCs, by the MCs, by the fans, for the fans. Because to be an MC, you got to be a fan first. So to everybody out there, we say peace.
Peace.
And we see you on episode 5.